Yeah, I mean, it just shows some resiliency. You know, obviously they threw the ball well. They had one of the best bullpens in baseball, and we battled back and scored 5 runs in the 9th inning. So I think that's something to definitely take from this game. And a lot of guys contributed in the 9th inning. A lot of good at bats against some really tough pitchers. So you know, but ultimately we lost. So disappointing, but definitely a sign of our character.
Ryan Braun last night talking about the marathon game. The Brewers scoring 5 runs in the 9th inning to tie it, coming up off the deck. But a game that Cincinnati would win with a pair of home runs in the 13th. Not only the longest game by way of time, but also by way of innings last night. Now the Brewers looking for their first win of this homestand. And Braun and the Brewers hit the field and ready to face this Subway lineup for the Cincinnati Reds, turned in by Dusty Baker. Drew Stubbs leads off. Paul Janisch bats second with Joey Votto in the 3-hole. It's Brandon Phillips, Scott Rowland, and Lance Nix in the middle of the order, with Vladimir Valentin, Corky Miller, and Kip Wells rounding it out. And that starting 9 will face right-hander Braden Looper. And you see his numbers for the season this year. He's making his 27th start of the season and making a bid at win number 12 tonight.
Outstanding his last time out at Washington. Gave up a couple of runs in the first inning, and that was it. 2 runs in 6 innings. He's having a pretty good month of August, a 2-and-1 record of .456 ERA. The home runs have been an issue for Looper. Leads the National League in allowing home runs with 31. And for our Piggly Wiggly scouting report, let's go right to pitching coach Chris Bosio on what Braden Looper needs to do here tonight.
Braden's got a couple things that we've been working on his front side that will help him get that downhill plane. You know, just talking to him about his grips, working on his sinker, trying to get more depth on it, a little bit more violent break that he's had in the past. You know, big thing for Braden, you know, being a big, strong guy, is just staying back and not trying to overdo it.
Pitching coach Chris Bosio, and here's how the Brewers line up defensively with Ryan Braun, Mike Cameron, and Jody Garrett. Casey McGee, Alcides Escobar, Craig Counsell, and Prince Fielder around the horn, with the battery of Jason Kendall and Braden Looper. Noticeably absent from the lineup tonight is Frank Catalanato and Felipe Lopez. Garrett gets the start in right field. Bill Miller will call the balls and strikes this evening. Darryl Cousins, Angel Campos, and Jim Joyce on the bases. And the first pitch is in there for a strike, and away we go on a cool, comfortable Wednesday night for baseball in Milwaukee. Drew Stubbs leads off. He is 4 for 26 in the big leagues this year at the plate. It's a batting average of 154. He did have a game-winning home run last week against Pittsburgh. And a very athletic center fielder, Drew Stubbs.
I think once this kid settles down and gets a little bit more comfortable in the major leagues, he's going to be a pretty good one. Big and tall, he packs a pretty good punch with that leverage. Hit a couple of balls pretty deep into the outfield last night.
Yeah, Mike Cameron made a great catch on Stubbs last night. We showed you that reel of all the great plays last night. The Reds committed 3 errors, but mixed around some game-saving type plays, and the Brewers had a couple of their own, especially one off the bat of Drew Stubbs, turned in by Mike Cameron. It was a fun game to watch last night. Unfortunately, the Brewers came up on the short end, but it looked like the Brewers were dead and gone until that 9th inning, and a great rally against one of the game's best closers in Francisco Cordero. So as Ryan Braun was mentioning, I think this club shows up today realizing they can score runs at any point. They can do it against any pitcher. They have that kind of talent, and although they lost, some positive thoughts coming from that loss last night as Stubbs pounds one back up the middle for a base hit. Well, Looper, his last time out was a win against Washington. He was pitching in the rain in Washington, D.C. He went 6 innings in that game, and Rocky only threw 78 pitches in his 6 innings in what ended up as an 11-6 Brewers win.
Yeah, one of the fewest pitch totals that he's had in a long, long time. You got to go all the way back to May 7th. You know, last time he had that few of a pitch total, only 78 pitches, so he should be pretty strong here tonight. And you're talking about that game yesterday that it looked as though the Brewers were sleepwalking offensively, but you have to tip your hat to Bronson Arroyo. Cincinnati starter has been throwing as good as anybody has in all of baseball since the second half. And once he left the ball game, things turned around for the Brewers.
Well, the Brewers have had some big innings here in the last 2 days. The 5-run ninth inning last night. They scored 6 runs in the 6th inning in D.C. on Monday. So the offense still intact and continues to be a story. Brewers are confident swinging the bats. And now they're hoping the pitchers will match and they can start to string together some wins. 39 games remaining in the regular season. Gonna miss that guy though. Felipe Lopez out of the lineup tonight. He is available to pinch hit if need be, but certainly not running well with that foot injury, more on the toe, and the pain ends up in the arch of the foot. Runner takes off and Giannis yanks one foul. Ball and 2 strikes on the Cincinnati shortstop.
Man, it's a real big hole in that lineup when you don't have Lopez as a leadoff hitter. He's been doing such a good job. 4 hits in yesterday's game. Seems like he's on base 2-3 times a night, and including last night 4 hits, including a home run.
Well, Paul Giannis is going to get a good look here the rest of the season. Very talented defensive shortstop. Good glove man with terrific range. One of the best arms you'll see in all of baseball. Question is, will he hit? And he's going to get his chance to prove that for the remainder of the season. Casey calls it, and 1 gone here in the 1st inning. And here comes Joey Votto, who dealt a severe punch last night. Votto hit the home run that put the Reds on top in the 13th inning. An opposite field leadoff home run against Todd Coffey, who is working in his 3rd inning, and you could tell Coffey just kind of ran out of gas there at the end, and Votto and Lance Nix both homered.
Yeah, Todd Coffey really taking one for the team last night, pitching in 3 innings and over 40 pitches. That's tough for a relief pitcher. Normally a guy that's only going to give you 1 inning. 3 innings, threw the baseball pretty well except for that last inning.
Longest outing of Todd Coffey's major league career. He had never pitched in 3 innings in a single game before until last night. Brewers used 7 pitchers last night, so the bullpen obviously in a little bit of question this evening. Imperative for Braden Looper to go deep into a game, and if Ken Maka could have it mapped out perfectly, he'd have Looper at least for 7, then David Weathers, and then Trevor Hoffman if need be. Ideally, you'd like Looper to extend and go maybe 8 or even possibly finish this game. Looper has not pitched more than 7 innings in a start this season.
Well, Ken Maka doesn't like to see him go much over 100 pitches. He feels as though he loses his effectiveness, and that's why he's only going 5-6 innings.
Votto on the ground. Counsell to Escobar and a double play. 4-6-3 and a good start for Braden Looper. And now the Brewers coming up as they'll face Kip Wells. And here's the lineup that Kent Maka turns in today. It's brought to you by Subway. Jody Garrett in his first start as a leadoff hitter for the Brewers this year. Craig Counsell bats second. Ryan Braun in the 3-hole. The middle of the order is Fielder, McGee, and Cameron, with Jason Kendall, Alcides Escobar, and Braden Looper rounding it out. And Braden Looper's former teammate with the Cardinals, Kip Wells, on the mound for the Reds tonight.
Yeah, making his first start since last July. You know, July 2008, as a member of the Rockies. He's got a good sinker. He'll also throw a cutter that looks a lot like a slider. And with that sinker that he throws, he's only allowed 1 home run in 26 relief appearances so far this year. The Piggly Wiggly scouting report.
Well, Jody Garrett gets a chance to lead off. Garrett's been in the leadoff spot before this season, but all of his leadoff appearances came as a member of the San Diego Padres. At 13 starts for San Diego as the leadoff hitter. First time here as a Brewer, and the Brewers have now used 8 different leadoff hitters this year. That was the spot that was going to be occupied by Ricky Weeks, and you probably would only have 2 or 3 in that spot throughout a season if Ricky Weeks does not go down with an injury.
And Jody Garrett's been swinging the bat much better. I mean, he's getting a few starts and hit a home run in Washington coming off the bench. Tough for a young player to be used as a pinch hitter maybe once or twice a week. But Jody's starting to come around.
Garrett had a good day his last time in the lineup. That was on Monday. He had 2 at-bats in Washington. Had a key 2 RBI single in that 6-run 6th inning, and then, as Rock mentioned, hit a solo home run in the 8th.
Kip Wells, when he's on, he's going to keep the ball down, and that one right at the bottom of the strike zone.
And Garrett slices one into left, a base hit. So Maka plays the hunch, sensing Garrett starting to heat up at the plate, and he delivers with a base hit his first time up. Valentin, Stubbs, and Nix, the outfielders tonight for Cincinnati. Around the infield, it's Roland, Janisch, Phillips, and Votto, and a battery of Corky Miller and Kip Wells. Tonight was supposed to be Aaron Harang's night in the starting rotation for the Reds, but he had emergency appendectomy surgery over the weekend, and he is going to be out for the season. So Wells, who had been pitching out of the bullpen, gets a chance to start and show what he can do the rest of the way. Wells has been bounced around this year. He started the season with the Washington Nationals, pitched in AAA with the Nationals in Syracuse. He was back in the big leagues in late April. Spent 6 weeks on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. And then ultimately Washington released him. The Reds picked him up, shipped him to AAA Louisville. But he has been in a Reds uniform since August 10th.
This is his 8th different team that he's played for in the major leagues. National League and American League. I mean, this guy's got great stuff. He just hasn't been able to win.
Former first-round draft pick out of Baylor University, drafted by the Chicago White Sox. Matter of fact, when he was in high school in Texas, the Brewers made him a draft pick. He decided to go to Baylor instead. Turned down the Brewers offer and then got a first-round call from the White Sox in '98. Craig Counsell back in the 2-hole tonight. Comes in with 4 homers, 32 driven in. Counsell a .281 batting average. 6 plate appearances last night for Counsell. He was 1 for 5 with a walk.
That walk was a biggie. That was in the 9th inning.
And with the bases loaded, an RBI the easy way for Counsell. And Counsell scored the tying run. Brewers were so close to winning last night on a couple of occasions. Braun thrown out at the plate on a perfect throw from McDonald that sent it to extra innings. Reds made a number of terrific defensive plays to stay in it last night. Votto flips it to the bag at second. Giannis the return. And a double play, a nicely turned double play by Cincinnati. Well, Ryan Braun steps in 2 homers away from 100 and putting himself in a huge class. Players in their first 3 years with as many home runs as Braun. You got Pujols, of course, 114. Eddie Matthews with 112 in his first 3 seasons. Teixeira did it with the Texas Rangers 03 through 05. He had 107. Jolton Joe is on this list, 1936 to 38. Braun is currently tied with Frank Robinson with 98 home runs in his first 3 seasons. I mean, that is a special class that Ryan Braun is a part of. And still plenty of baseball rock to be played with 39 games remaining. You figure Braun has a legitimate chance to be the 4th fastest to 100 home runs.
Tremendous. Clips right there, huh? Those guys. That's good work. Good work in the production end of the show here tonight. Outstanding.
Braun with a base hit. So after the double play, the Brewers get a single from their 3-hole hitter. And it gives Prince Fielder a chance at Kemp Wells in this first inning.
And it's one thing, looking at those names on those graphics that we pop up. It's another to watch them swing the bat. That's great stuff. That's the kind of stuff puts a smile on your face to watch those guys swing the bat. And this guy too, a slider. And Ryan able to find the hole in the left field.
Well, you think about how special Pujols has been as a hitter. And of course, he had 114 home runs. He and Ralph Kiner with 114 in their first 3 years. Close play over at first. You got to stay healthy, but you figure at Braun, the numbers he'll amass if he does stay healthy. It's tough to do that in the big leagues for a long period of time, but the way he's built, the way he swings the bat, you got to think something special coming from Ryan Braun. We've already seen it here. And the same goes for this guy, Prince Fielder.
Well, he's got a lot of those same attributes, not just physically, but mentally. I mean, he wants to be better every time he steps on the field. And I can't get in the heads of guys like, Joe DiMaggio, Eddie Matthews, guys like that. But I am sure that every time they went on a baseball field, they felt as though they had something to prove to themselves. And that's why they were able to, be better every single year. Never got complacent.
Now Fielder in our Taco Bell Who's Hot tonight. His numbers against Cincinnati this year, a .313 average, has 5 of his 33 home runs against the Reds and 16 of his 110 RBIs against the division rival. Brent with a new bat tonight. A little bit different look.
It goes back and forth between the the white bat and the two-tone, the black barrel and white handle. Never feels good. A little bit more tape on it right now.
Looks like a bigger barrel than what Fielder normally uses. He's been going to this tapered model, which has a real small barrel, and giving this one a shot here tonight. Might be one of Mike Cameron's bats. Cameron's always good to go to. They go to the bat bag. There it is. 25 right on the knob. I wonder if Prince actually asked to use bats or if he just kind of adopts them.
I don't think the Brewers actually ever ordered Prince bats for himself. He just uses everybody else's.
That's what he does. He's been using Ricky Weeks bats all year. Now, you don't see Fielder break bats very often. He basically retires bats. They don't retire themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because guys that ordinarily have the success that Prince Fielder has been having will use one particular bat and not change. I mean, Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, they use the same model bat every day, all season long, for as long as they can remember.
That is a foul ball called by Darryl Cousins. Fielder taking a double take at it. Cousins is the crew chief and had a good look at it. That had a chance to score Braun from first base if it stays fair.
And Prince thought that might have hit the chalk down the right field line. No argument from Eddie Cedar. Darrell Cousins with a pretty good look at it and just misses that right field foul line. And that would have scored Ryan.
Ball and 2 strikes on Prince. 2-2. They don't use chalk anymore at that part of the field. That is paint. And then it turns into chalk when you get into the dirt. See Fielder's career against Wells, 3 home runs of his 5 hits in 12 at-bats against this pitcher. That one is a shot, and oh, what a play by Giannis. And the inning is over. Boy, this guy is something else. He has put on a clinic already. Paul Giannis with a great play at short, and Fielder robbed of a base hit. Fox Sports Wisconsin, they're still filing into Miller Park on a cloudy, cool night. Well, the Brewers and Braden Looper trying to bounce back from a loss. Looper is 9-3 when he starts after a loss. That is a good news statistic for the Milwaukee Brewers, as Looper makes a bid at his 12th win of the year.
Yeah, that's what you call a stopper on a pitching staff. You have your closer that ends a game, but you know, Looper, one of those guys that, although his ERA is up there a bit, you know, 4.95, the Brewers just have a way of scoring runs for this guy. 22 runs for Looper in his last 4 starts.
Well, Looper has been among league leaders in the run support category pretty much all year. I mean, it started quickly. Matter of fact, in only his 2nd start of the season, that was against Cincinnati, the Brewers put 9 runs on the board. They've had a number of double-digit performances with Looper on the mound as well. Looper is 34 years of age and start number 27. This is his 5th start this year against Cincinnati.
And he's done well against the Reds in his career. 7-3 career with a 3.83 ERA. This year 3-1.
Looper's lone loss came on the 7th of May. But one of his better outings of the year came against the Reds as Phillips launches one into right center, but Cameron is there for it. And it's out number 1.
Hey fans, follow the Brewers on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com At Bat 2009. That features play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Brewers.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase.
Second game of a 6-game homestand for the Brewers. Reds are here tomorrow. They'll wrap up the series as Rolen bounces one to McGee. 2 outs. Bad day tomorrow when we're back on TV, even though some of your schedules don't show it. Last night, Lance Nix in the 13th inning gave the Reds a little insurance. He hit a big home run in the 13th inning, but a 2-run homer in the 7th to separate Cincinnati a little bit. That made it 6-1, and then the home run in the 13th made it 8-6.
Yeah, Ty Coffey just lost a little bit on that fastball, and both of the left-handers went oppo on him. You know, Nix and Joey Votto. You know, Votto as good as it gets and going to the opposite field for home runs.
Nix was 2 for 7 at the plate with those 2 home runs. Comes in with 12 long balls, 36 runs batted in. Still trying to prove he can be a everyday player in the major leagues. Nix homered, and his brother Jason Nix homered as well last night. So 2 brothers that had a good phone call last night. Hey, how'd you do tonight? Well, I hit a home run. How about you? Yeah, I hit a home run too.
Yeah, hit 2.
I got you, bro. I got you, little bro.
That's a big man right there, Lance Nix. Not very tall, but he is very well put together. Not a whole lot of body fat on him. Has had a problem throughout his career, at least early on, staying healthy. A lot of shoulder problems, back issues, and feeling as good as he has this year.
Well, he launches that one to deep right, and there goes another one. So Lance Nix with his 3rd home run in the series, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati. Got a 3-1 pitch, and he delivers one deep into right field. So Looper with 7 straight starts, giving up a home run.
As that pitch way up in the strike zone, about belt high, looked like it was something off speed, and Lance Nix pulled that one, hit it well, almost in the exact spot that he hit his first home run last night.
No doubt about that one. And now the pressure's on his little brother Jason with the White Sox to homer again.
That's the way Lance Nix started his season this year, hitting a lot of home runs. He hits them in bunches like a lot of home run hitters will do. Right now he's in a pretty good stretch, so I guess if I'm the Brewer pitching staff, I'd be careful with the guy.
Well, it's kind of a makeshift order for the Reds, and you're wondering where the power would come from. Looper, the league leader in home runs allowed. 32 home runs in just his 27th start. Reds have sent a number of players to the disabled list this year, and a lot of big power hitters to the DL as well. Nick's getting a lot of playing time. This Reds lineup was supposed to be anchored by Jay Bruce and Joey Votto. But Bruce has been out with a fractured wrist, and that has given Lance Nix a little extra playing time, and he's made the most of it.
And probably the guy that has hurt the Brewers most the last couple of years has been traded away to Toronto, Edwin Encarnacion. How many home runs did we see that guy hit against the Brewers?
Seemed like, you know, a home run and an error from Encarnacion just about every night.
That's about it. I'd take that.
He'd kind of earned the nickname as the Brewer Killer. He was traded away in the Scott Rowland deal. Now hitting home runs in the Rogers Center in Toronto. Vladimir Valentin acquired in a trade with the Mariners. deal that was done just before the trade deadline. Valentine with 4 homers, 13 RBIs in Seattle this year. Has 1 home run as a Red. We saw a lot of Valentine this spring. Brewers play the Mariners quite often in the Cactus League. They train in Peoria.
This might be a young team, but they're pretty big. A group of very big men. Valentine, no shrimp. Stubbs big. Giannis is put together pretty well. Saw Lance Nix make a good football team.
Dusty's trying to figure out who is going to be in the mix next year. They've made some trades as Looper walks Valentine. One thing they've done, they've cleared the way for some of their young pitchers to surface. They've got a lot of good young arms in their bullpen. They certainly have good young arms in their starting core, but a couple of young arms in Johnny Cueto and Edinson Volquez that are having a hard time staying healthy. And Volquez out for the season with Tommy John surgery, so his season next year in jeopardy as well.
A lot of baseball experts during the offseason picking the Cincinnati Reds to be the surprise team in the National League. And you can understand why. They got a pretty good starting rotation. Their bullpen's been tremendous. And before all the injuries and the trades, they had a pretty good offense.
And what they have in Joey Votto and Jay Bruce, a couple of left-handed hitters that handle left-handed pitchers well, a lot like Prince Fielder as far as the statistical breakdown, the batting average and the power. Both Votto and Bruce everyday players because of their success against lefties, and you know that's a good benefit to have. You know, it's kind of like rolling Fielder out there every day. Fielder never sits and wouldn't sit even if he struggled against lefties, but because he's handled left-handed pitchers so well, gives you a little added advantage.
No, that's because they have good opposite field power. They're willing to stay in there. Feel like they don't have to pull everything to hit it out of the ballpark, just like Prince.
And most pitching staffs are made up of right-handed pitchers. You know, if you have a couple in the starting rotation, maybe 1 or 2 in the bullpen, that's usually about it for a ball club. Miller pops it up. Braun will settle under it, and the side retired. A home run by Lance Nix, and 1-0 Cincinnati as we head to the home second.
A foot injury. If you go back to last night's game, in the 9th inning when he rounded third and came home to score, he felt sharp pain in his right foot, and this is a guy you definitely don't want to be without, especially after he produced his fourth four-hit game of the season. Ken Maka said he'll definitely be missed because he's just been a hitting machine, but he did predict that Jody Garrett would have 3 hits tonight in his place, and Garrett does have 1 so far, guys, and we'll see if he can keep it going.
Yeah, the manager answered a lot of questions today about his lineup. Jody Garrett at the top of his order.
Making predictions now.
Yeah, he's in the crystal ball business.
Wow. Nice.
Hey, if you're a manager, you got to play a hunch, right?
Yeah.
If you can't trust your own hunches, whose can you trust?
That's right.
Casey McGee leads off here in the second inning. The Brewers down 1-0. A Lance Nix homer. His 3rd of the series. Casey had a big hit last night. A single that drove home the tying run against Cordero. Well, Brad Fisher was in the crosshairs last night trying to figure out when to send runners, when to stop runners, and
I think he made the right decision every time.
He did.
He really did. There was a lot of discussion about that in the dugout during batting practice, and a couple of base hits that were hit very hard. He held runners at third base. Had to do that because they would have been thrown out.
What's interesting is the first runner he held, McDonald made a perfect throw to the plate. The next runner he held, McDonald made a wild throw. That was on McGee's hit that would have won the game. And so, you know, I'm sure Fisher, going in through his mind, when do I send a runner, when do I hold a runner? On the sacrifice fly opportunity, Cameron's fly ball to left. He's got a very fast runner in Braun, and it's an absolute must-take opportunity. And
that's a no-brainer. You got to send them.
And you got to tip your hat to McDonald, who made a perfect throw. That kind of sums up the way things have gone for the Brewers here lately, as McGee draws the walk.
Now, Kip Wells has extraordinary movement. He throws pretty good. He doesn't throw as hard as he used to. He's got great movement, particularly when he's throwing arm side. That's in on right-handed hitters, away from left. He's got good sink on it. It straightens out when he tries to throw a pitch on the outside part of the plate to a right-handed batter. But sometimes he has a tough time controlling the pitch because it moves so much. We saw that right there with Casey.
Mike Cameron. Now, there was a point in Kip Wells' career where they told him, when he was with the White Sox, they pretty much told him, just try to throw it down the middle of the plate and see what happens.
And let the natural movement, you know, take care of it.
He was walking a number of batters. And Kip Wells is one of those stories, you know, a guy who came through. He was a first-round draft pick, has a golden arm, $1 million arm, and, you know, just kept tinkering with him at every level. There was something new to work on, and with new pitching coaches and new teams. And
yeah, he's just got too good of stuff to be having numbers like that right there. I mean, there's no excuse for him to have, you know, so many more losses than wins. I mean, just an electric arm.
Well, twice he has led the league in losses, Kip Wells, twice in his career. Jason Kendall was his catcher in Pittsburgh. Talked to Kendall today about Wells. He said the guy's got incredible stuff and still has incredible stuff. Harnessing it is the other part of the story. There's a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike on Mike Cameron.
Yeah, he was 8-18 in 2005 with the Pirates. With an ERA over 5. I mean, it's a hard thing to figure out. It really is, the way his ball moves. He's got a couple of pitches that are hard to control. The big curveball, very rarely a called strike, and a big sinker.
Well, he led the league in losses that year. That was in 05. And was 7-17 as a member of the Cardinals. He was in the same starting rotation as Braden Rupert. 17 losses in 07, led the league as well. Had a scary injury last year, had a blood clot in his right hand. And doctors very concerned about that, as was Kip Wells. Not sure what his baseball future was, but He's battled back, and here he is back on a big league mound. And a strike call to Cameron. Cameron thought he had ball 4, telling Bill Miller he thought it was down. And the first strikeout for Kip Wells.
They're pretty close. We've seen Bill Miller call that pitch a couple of times. Right at the knees. Goes from right at the bottom of the knees to, at least by the rule book, the letters. It's not called that way, but I think Bill Miller giving Kip Wells and Braden Looper maybe an inch or two down in the strike zone.
Similar pitch called on Jody Garrett in the first inning. So the first out, Casey McGee still at first base, and here's Jason Kendall. Kendall and Wells teammates in Pittsburgh for a couple of seasons. Kendall's got his batting average up to 242. He's currently on a 6-game hit streak, and during the hit streak is batting .400. Has 10 hits and 25 at-bats and 4 runs batted in. McGee takes off. A hit and run is on, and Miller's throwing plenty of time to get McGee. Well, imperative for Kendall to put the ball in play there with Casey running. And McGee comes up hobbling at second base.
Yeah, McGee, Casey didn't get a very good jump. Not a big lead, not a good jump, and Jason swings through it, and you knew it was trouble. Look at the throw from Corky Miller. That's why this guy's been in baseball so long. He's a very good catch and throw guy. On a pitch that bounced, look at the throw, straight as a string, all the way right on the bag, and all Phillips has to do is catch it and make the tag. Good throw.
2 outs, and Kendall fouls it away. Well, the Brewers can't afford any more injuries. They are already shorthanded on their bench. The Brewers started this series with 13 pitchers. Normally you carry 12, sometimes even 11. Because you carry 13 pitchers on a 25-man roster, that gives you 12 position players, which means 4 bench players. Lopez already banged up and unavailable. And now Casey McGee is heading back into the tunnel.
Maybe hard-pressed to find any major league player that has any kind of playing time that isn't a bit banged up at this point in the year. It's just a matter of being able to put them together with some tape and go out and get them. Nobody's 100% right now.
No. If you are, you haven't been playing.
That's right.
Two to Kendall. 2 outs in the Brewers' second inning. And Wells thought he had a called strike 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That didn't miss by much.
No, that looked like a pretty good pitch. That's what you're talking about. Away to a right-handed hitter is pretty straight, and it looked like a good pitch. I think it fooled Jason. I think he thought something was going to be coming in on his hands again.
And Kendall draws the walk. Second walk of the inning. 2-out base runner for the Brewers. And that leads us to our carsoup.com email the booth question. Katie in West Dallas wants to know, with Nashville just a game and a half out of first place, what do you expect to happen with September call-ups? It's a great question, Katie, and something that Gord Ash and Doug Melvin, along with Ken Mako, take very seriously.
I don't think they're going to be depleting the Nashville team anytime soon. I think they're going to allow them to go through their season, go through the playoffs, and particularly because the Brewers right now are not in the race. I think they're going to allow their AAA team to go as far as they possibly can, and then you might see the guys come up.
That season ends on the 7th. The postseason will start shortly thereafter. We're wishing Don Money and his crew luck down there. And, you know, there's one thing to develop players. There's another thing to develop players and develop winning in the minor leagues. And that's a big part of what the Brewers do in their minor league system.
A lot of his team is up here right now, including his pitching coach.
That's true. Alcides Escobar batting in the 8th spot in the order tonight against left-handers. Maka has typically been batting Escobar in the 9 hole, and the pitcher batting 8th. A little bit of shift in the lineup with Jody Garrett at the top. Ultimately, Escobar will hit leadoff. And the question to Ken Maka is, why don't you just hit him leadoff then? Well, it's a good chance to stick a young player down in the order. Doesn't feel the pressure that you would in a leadoff position. And Maka kind of likes him down there where he can hide a little bit and watch the game and let it develop a little bit before he steps in for the first time.
Yeah, plus with Lopez in the lineup, there's no way you're going to get him out of that leadoff spot. You'd like to have a left-hander as your leadoff hitter against these right-handed pitchers. Jody Garrett, a good option, a guy with some pretty good speed, and I think that keeping the pressure off Escobar is a big consideration. Why do that?
Kendall takes off, and a bouncer out to short. Giannis guns him down, and the inning is over. Scoreless frame for Kip Wells. At your local farm and fleet. By Piggly Wiggly, shop the pig and save. And by Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Under the lights of Miller Park, the roof is open tonight. And a 60-degree night here in Wisconsin. Just ideal temperatures to enjoy a ball game. One of the great venues in all of baseball, Miller Park. Good to see the home fans here. School starting for most next week, next Tuesday, all across Wisconsin. Some starting a little earlier, some a little later. 6-game homestand. The Brewers 3 against the Reds, a series that wraps up tomorrow, and then the Pirates come to town beginning Friday. Weekend series against Pittsburgh. Kip Wells leads off. A good hitting pitcher. He's always been a good hitter in his career. Limited at-bats this year. He's 1 for 3 at the plate. He'll bounce her out to Counsell. And a low throw dug out by Prince. Wells retired, first out in the third. If you think you can play in the big leagues or you just want to relive some memories, you got to sign up for Brewers Fantasy Camp 2010. Registration is underway. It happens January 31st through February 7th, where the grass is green and the skies are blue in Arizona. 262-679-3612 is the number, or just log on to the web, brewers.com/fantasycamp.
Spending a week with Gorman Thomas is worth the price of admission.
Big spike, if you can find him. Going to have a good laugh. Do a Google search on Gorman Thomas and the air horn at Fantasy Camp.
Yeah, that was priceless. Phil Rozowitz, the visiting clubhouse guy, crawled into one of the lockers. One of the the upper part where you have the closet door. He crawled in there with an air horn and in Gorman's locker. Gorman opened the door up to put his hat in there, and the horn went off, and you would have thought Gorman met his maker.
And he almost did.
Pretty funny.
And what makes it funnier is that that's kind of Gorman's thing, as Looper strikes out Drew Stubbs. Gorman's the one who typically sounds off the air horn.
Right.
So here comes Paul Janisch. He's already shown his wares defensively in this series. Janisch has one of the best arms in baseball. At Rice University down in Houston. Had a great play tonight. He robbed Fielder of a base hit. And a good play to end the last inning with the speedy Escobar running down the line.
Yeah, he's got a hose, doesn't he? Man, that last play that he got Escobar, I mean, I wasn't even close. I thought Escobar might be able to get a base hit on that, but Janisch with a very strong, accurate arm from shortstop.
Janisch has such a good arm. There was some talk about him pitching as he was in college and into the pros. Janisch pops up, and the inning is over. 3 up, 3 down for Braden Looper.
Coming up, that's this weekend. When the Brewers drive for charity, receive a Manny Parr pin with every donation. For details, call 414-902-4000.
Is that kind of like a pledge pin?
A pledge pin.
For your uniform?
And Niedermeyer lives here.
He does?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Nice. It's not his name, Niedermeyer. But
right. Well, that's what we know him as.
Braden Looper shoots one back up the middle. A base hit for the Brewer pitcher. Speaking of good hitting pitchers, Looper is that. His 10th hit of the year. He's now 10 for 46. He's got a batting average over 200.
And got a four-seam fastball out over the plate and able to bang it out of the reach of Brandon Phillips. Coming into the year, you knew he handled the bat pretty well. He had 13 sacrifice bunts with the Cardinals last year, but he didn't realize how good of a hitter he's become.
Well, he got off to a slow start. I think he had only one hit in his first 20 at-bats. But he has been striking the ball well lately. His batting average up to .217. And he turns the lineup over for Jody Garrett with a base runner to work with now.
Anytime you have a pitcher hitting over 200, you've got something there. That's a good hitting pitcher.
Second, make it third hit for the Brewers. 3 hits and 2 walks against Kip Wells. And the Brewers have had at least a man on in every inning. Now, we talked about the hunch that Ken Maka played with Jody Garrett today in leadoff spot. And part of that hunch is what we've seen from Garrett here lately. You realize in his last 23 games, Garrett is now hitting .367. He's 11 for 30 at the plate. And most of that duty is coming off the bench.
Well, when you look at the options that Maka has when you have Lopez out of the lineup, Garrett is one of the few that could really be in that leadoff role. A guy that's a left-handed hitter. He's a singles hitter and he can run.
On the corner, a strike, 3-2 the count on Garrett. Well, Garrett coming off the bench is a free swinger. He rarely gets deep into a count. But on 2 occasions tonight, as a leadoff hitter in this game, he's been in 2-3 ball counts. He's worked it full again. And Garrett right to Phillips. Starts a 4-6-3 double play. Boy, once Janich gets the baseball, it's over. Well, time now for What Do You Know, brought to you by Radio Shack. On this day back in 1987, the 39-game hitting streak of Paul Molitor comes to an end. Molitor's streak is the longest in the American League since Joe DiMaggio's record, 56-game streak in 41. And that was in 87, part of a team known as Team Streak, not just for Molitor's streak, but the wins and the losses.
Yeah, the good and the bad that year. Started the season 13-0, and then in May had a 12-game losing streak.
Dale Swaim, a member of that club. Bill Schroeder on that team. And Molitor, 39 games.
Yep, John Farrell, the starting pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, ended that streak.
How was the streak handled in the clubhouse? With the daily activity with Molitor. Anybody ever bring it up?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't quite like a no-hitter type situation, but it's one of those things you didn't talk too much about. But I tell you, the fans at County Stadium were going nuts when Molitor would come home from a road trip and that streak got into the 20s.
Counsell sends one down the line, and it gets by Nix down there. Counsell into second base. A double for Counsell. So the Brewers are getting their hits, the 4th already in the first 3 innings. A couple of double plays, though, have wiped out some base runners. Counsell's double will give Ryan Braun a shot at Wells.
Well, fastball middle in, and anytime he throws it on that side of the plate, they call that the glove side. It straightens out quite a bit, and Counsell able to bang it down the line for a 2-out double. And the big boys coming up, Ryan and Prince.
Well, Nix makes another good play, but another risky play as he slides to pick that one up. Braun with 2 outs, Counsell at second base, and the Reds leading 1-0. Braun had a base hit in the first inning. A single. Ryan's driven in 93 runs this year.
Good one to hit right there. Boy, four-seamer right down the middle. Ryan kind of upset with himself. Realized he had a good pitch to hit. Oh, and he doesn't get sink on that fastball. It really is. It really straightens out and stays up in his zone.
Braun in an RBI spot. His 93 ribbies, fourth best in the National League to start the day. He's got Counsell at second. And Ryan a cut and a miss. Tied him up. 1-2 the count.
There's that sink. Anytime it's middle in or right off the inside corner, he's going to have good tilt on it. It's going to go down and into a righty.
Wells making his first big league start of the year in his third game with the Reds. And a shot. Giannis makes another play but cannot find a handle. Well, Giannis saves a run but unable to get the out as Braun reaches on an infield hit. And here comes Prince with 2 on and 2 out.
Maybe it's time to start hitting it at somebody else. This guy's been pretty good tonight. Doing a nice job going up the middle. A couple of diving stabs. This one not able to keep it in his glove. I think with his arm he might get Ryan if he's able to come up and keep the ball in his glove, but couldn't.
And never giving up on the play. His next thought was maybe he could catch Counsell around third. So Fielder hits with 2 outs. Back-to-back singles with 2 away. Counsell and Braun. And Prince just got a piece. A foul tip into the mid of Miller.
Took a little off that one. Kind of one of those BP fastballs that we saw Bronson Arroyo use quite a bit last night. 87 miles an hour.
Coming inside on Fielder. And Prince rips one foul. Boy, Prince turning one around. But yanks over the top of it. The second time he has just missed extra bases.
Tried to come up and in and didn't get it in, didn't get it up, and Prince nearly cleared the bases. Not where he wanted it.
No balls, 2 strikes on Fielder. 1-2. Prince Fielder with Mike Cameron's bat tonight. See if it has some thunder in it. Has gone from a star to a superstar this season. It's on the cover of video games and everything. Good take. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, change up that time.
Dale Swaim saying that Prince Fielder has elevated himself into Pujols territory, Barry Bonds territory.
Yeah. No argument here.
Starts the day with a .303 batting average, 33 homers, and the major league's most RBIs, 110. Here's the 2-2. Fielder down on strikes. He took a little off. And Wells gets out of a jam.
second inning to put the Reds on the boards. Kip Wells in his first big league start this season, 5 hits through 3 innings with 2 strikeouts. Braden Looper on the other end has only given up 2 hits, but 1 left the yard. He has 1 strikeout, and as you can see, he was not happy with what he was able to do while giving up that run. And guys, it's been a season-long theme with Braden Looper. When he's able to throw on a downward plane, he is very effective, and we'll see if he can continue to do that throughout the rest of this game.
Yeah, that's what Ken Maka is always looking for with Braden Looper, and you hear that a lot, specifically with Braden Looper. The downward plane, the tilt of his pitches.
Throw downhill. That means stand tall and try and get good sink. It's all about the release point and follow through and not trying to drive off that back leg too much. And when you drive off the back leg, you might get a little bit more velocity, but the ball is going to straighten out. That's not what Looper wants to do. He wants to get that movement. You give up velocity to get movement ordinarily. Some guys get both.
Now Looper at 6'5". Has plenty of opportunity for tilt, standing tall on that mound. Played his college ball at Wichita State. He was one of the best pitchers in all of college baseball. Cardinals picked him up in the '96 draft, the 3rd pick overall. Looper went in the 1st round to St. Louis. Just misses to join Votto. Votto is aboard. 2nd walk issued by Looper. Leads us to our Aflac trivia question. Aflac! The Doc wants to know who was the oldest pitcher in Major League Baseball history to reach 30 saves in a season for the first time.
That's a good one.
Oldest pitcher, 30 saves in a season for the first time. He's still active. How about that? Give you that hint. Brandon Phillips. Phillips lined out to Cameron his last time up. A couple of hits last night. Casey McGee made a nice play on Phillips in the 4th inning last night. Otherwise, he would have had a 3-hit game. Gold Glover last year at second base. Phillips still a chance to drive at 100. He is Cincinnati's best run producer right now. 77 driven in.
Going to have a big month of September. So we got a few days left in August. $20 home runs, 100 RBIs. Not a bad season for a second baseman.
Lines out into Cameron. And he makes a play for the out. Cameron makes that play look so easy, and it's not, as we saw on a couple of occasions around big league baseball last night.
Yeah.
That line drive right at you. Andrew McCutchen got burned on that same line drive last night in Pittsburgh.
Ordinarily, it's the young outfielders who are going to get burned on that. And you really can't judge the trajectory of the baseball when it's right at you. Right or left, you have a better chance. You can tell how hard it's hit and the direction it's going, but a lot of times you'll see that. You'll see a young outfielder come in on that ball and realize it's going to be over his head, too late to make the adjustment. Watch where that ball goes, almost right in his tracks. Notice how Cameron stays low when he's trying to figure out where those fly balls are, the trajectory of them. He gets down, he tries to get a little bit lower, and feels as though he could see the baseball better that way.
Runner takes off, rolling into right center. That is going to fall, a base hit. Garrett cuts it off, and that saves a run. Votto was on the move, and he ends up at third base as Rolen singles to right center, and the Reds have runners at the corners with just 1 out.
And not exactly the 2 guys that you would think of for a hit and run. Scott Rolen, big guy, but he goes to right field very well. Joey Votto not fast by any stretch of the imagination, but it works out. I mean, Votto realized right away that ball was going to fall and got into third base easily. Unusual play with those 2 guys on a hit and run.
Not so much the speed combination as opposed to the don't want to bounce into the double play combination.
Right.
Well, and the way Rollins swinging the bat, pretty good bet. Roland had a 4-hit game last night, first 4-hit game of the season. Well, the Reds are pushing it now. First and third with 1 out. And Lance Nix, one of their hottest hitters, at the plate. Strike on the corner.
Got to get that splitter down in the strike zone. Try and get Nix to hit one on the ground here. Get that double play. Get out of the inning. Luke's had a tough time getting the Cincinnati hitters to swing at that pitch. Usually a pretty good strikeout pitch and has been very good at using it early in the count, throwing it for a called strike. Hasn't done either yet.
Ball and 2 strikes on Nix. 3 home runs in the series. 3 home runs in his last 5 at bats. Put the Reds on the board in the second inning with a 2-out homer to right. The 1-2. Down he goes. Looper strikes him out. Gave him a fastball, surprised Nix. And it's out number 2. It's strikeout number 2 for Braden Looper. A big out early.
Man, it looked like Greg Maddux out there. You see the late movement to catch the inside corner. Started in off the plate. Good job going downhill on that pitch and got good movement late. Nix thought it was inside, but according to Bill Miller, caught the corner. That's the way Greg Maddux used to ring guys up inside.
A comeback sinker.
Going to see a few of those tomorrow with Dave Bush on the mound.
Well, Ballantine at the plate for the Reds, able to check his swing. .63 pitches for Looper as we play in the 4th inning. Not a bad number. More pitches out of the strike zone than he normally has. One and one. There's that swing and the miss you're talking about.
Yeah, starting to throw that pitch a little bit more and starting to get a feel for it. Just got to keep throwing that pitch. Jason Kendall continues to make him throw it. At some point he's going to need it as this game goes on. Doing a good job locating his fastball so far tonight. Made the one mistake to Nix, but really that's been it. A good pitch right there. He's got good command on the outside corner.
And Looper will be the first to tell you everything spins off his fastball. When he's commanding his fastball, that's when you see the swings and misses on the splitter. 2 balls and a strike. Into center field, pretty well hit. Cameron with room. And the inning is over. The Reds get runners at the corners with 1 out. Looper does not budge. And still 1-0.
forever. Now they're asking fans to join them in their cause. Fans who attend this Friday's game can purchase raffle tickets for just $5, and one lucky fan will go home with a framed autographed jersey of Brewers closer Trevor Hoffman. Look for the jersey raffle table near the home plate entrance, or the volunteers in pink t-shirts who will be selling them throughout Miller Park. Guys?
All right, Telly, thanks. Casey McGee flies out. Gave it a ride. Thought for a moment it had a chance to go, but it's a much cooler night in Milwaukee tonight. Maybe a month ago that flies out of here.
Yeah, a couple of days ago maybe.
60-degree night here.
Well, panels closed and roof open. I guess not carrying very well tonight because Casey put a charge into that one.
One gone. Kip Wells facing Mike Cameron. Cameron is on our Powerball home run leaderboard. Hit his 18th of the year in Washington, D.C. Fielder leads the way. Fielder with 33 homers this year. Braun with 27. And Corey Hart hoping to return soon. Fourth on that list. Cameron sends one up the pipe. And Drew Stubbs will squeeze it for out number 2. Aflac trivia tonight. We're talking relievers with 30 saves in a season for the first time. We want to know who the oldest in Major League history to do that. And it's your own Brewer, David Weathers. He was 38 years of age when he recorded his 30th save of the year. And that was as a member of the Cincinnati Reds in 2007, the year he kind of ended up as the closer. Todd Coffey started the year as a closer that year in 07.
David Weathers has worn many hats out in that bullpen, whichever bullpen it's been.
He's been in a lot of bullpens. The most saves he had ever had leading up to that season was 15. Weathers holding court as he does so well in his 19th season in the big leagues. Jason Chager pointed out the Boomer had a nice little note for us. You know, we talked about Hoffman and Weathers as the most games among active pitchers. They're 1 and 2. Hoffman's 1, Weathers 2. They were also both members of the original Florida Marlins in '93.
Jason came up with that, huh?
Yeah, Boomer had that for us.
Nice job. Down in that Brewer clubhouse, does good work. Part of Tony Miliacio's staff.
We'll have to get him an invoice as a stats man.
Right.
Because Mike Faulkner, he didn't have that.
How much did they get? Good money?
Not as much as your haircut today.
Nothing? That's a good haircut, though.
Best free haircut you've ever had.
That's a good haircut. I mean, you know, I would have paid good money for that if I had to. Of course, I don't have to. So
is there some kind of no tipping policy in the clubhouse?
I'll get him something. I'll get him something. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to get him, but I'm going to get him something. Some little enumerary, whatever you call it.
Candlesticks make a nice gift.
What was that word that you used last night for a tip?
Propina?
Yeah.
And if you're just joining us, Rock with a rally haircut today. And Mark DeFelice.
Oh, then I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was a little bit nervous throughout that whole process.
Keep the grades down.
Yes.
Because Dale Swaim and Jason Kendall, kept trying to come in and buzz all the hair off.
Yeah, they were lurking.
They were going to commandeer the shears and just clip me off like a sheep.
I mean, they were just trying to make you look more like them.
Yeah, well, I was nervous that they were going to do that. I had no problem. I trusted DeFelice impeccably.
Right.
But those two, no.
Well, Kendall and Swaim don't have an inch of hair on their heads.
Right.
So they kind of wanted you to be a part of the club for a minute. Full count to Kendall, 2 outs in the 4th. And that hit him. Jason Kendall hit by a pitch.
That big breaking ball that Jason wasn't able to get out of the way of. Kip Wells has always had a tough time commanding that curveball. It's a good pitch. It has a big break on it. When he keeps it down, it's a good strikeout pitch, but he's only thrown a couple of them, and neither one of them really close to the strike zone.
Kendall, the active leader in hit by pitches. 243 now for his career. That is 6th most all time. So it gives Escobar a shot. He breaks his bat, and an easy play for Giannis. Inning is over. 4 shutout on the board for Kip Wells. Charities during Brewers Charities bobblehead raffles, all presented by Fox Sports Wisconsin. This Sunday, August 30th, it's Jeff Suppan bobblehead day. Visit the raffle table anytime through the 4th inning, and with every $5 donation, you'll have the chance to take home great prizes. All proceeds will be donated to the Brewers Charities to support military causes. Visit brewers.com/bobble-raffle for more details. And Suppan scheduled to pitch on Sunday. Came through his start yesterday well, and just the normal amount of soreness, and he's still in line to pitch on Sunday again for the Crew. Looper back on the mound. He's pitched well. He's given up just 1 run. That was a home run by Lance Nix. It came with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. Looper stranding a pair of base runners last inning. A run on 3 hits for Cincinnati. Looper has walked 2 and has 2 strikeouts.
You see him shaking his head. He's having a tough time with that splitter tonight. It's been a battle for him so far. There's one.
Ball at 2 strikes on Corky Miller.
The splitter's a good pitch. It doesn't have to be a strike as long as it's over the plate. If it's in, if it's away, hitters aren't really going to swing at it, but if it's over the plate, you have a chance to get a swing and a miss.
Tried another one. Miller lays off.
That's what we're talking about right there. I mean, if that pitch is on the corner, you might have a shot at getting Corky Miller to swing at it.
Another one and a base hit. So Corky Miller is having a good series.
Right, leadoff base runners have been abundant for the Reds in this series so far. This is the 3rd time that they've had their leadoff hitter on in the first 5 innings. Split-fingered fastball over the plate, but a little bit further up than Luke wanted it, and Corky Miller able to punch it into left.
Reds had their leadoff man 6 times last night.
Yeah, most of that early in the game.
Gives Wells a chance to bunt the runner. Wells pitching a dandy tonight. It was supposed to be Aaron Harang starting for the Reds in this game. Emergency appendectomy for Harang. He's out for the season. Wells gets the spot. He's pitching like he wants another turn.
Speaking of appendectomy, you see Corey Hart running around the outfield today. Got a good workout in with Eddie Cedar. Corey's starting to feel better.
Hart expected back on the active roster in September.
And talking to Corey today in the clubhouse, saying that he hopes that when the team goes to St. Louis, he heads off and does a rehab stint. Looking forward to getting back into action. Still feels a little bit of weakness. Really no pain. He did do some soft toss the first time he's actually swung a bat.
Well, it'll be important to do it that first week of September, because that's the last week of the minor league regular season. Wells bunts one. Kendall plays it fair and will take the out at first base. Kendall did not want to take the chance that stayed fair and it would have been a base hit. It looked like it had a chance to roll foul for a strikeout.
Yeah, but you know what? If you let it go and Skip Wells is able to beat it at first base, if it stays fair, and now this ball dead and pretty good. Really can't take a chance. If that ball just stays on the line, it's first and second, nobody out. Got to take the out when they're giving you one. Kendall wasn't sure, so he gets the out at first base.
When in doubt, take the out. And Kendall does it. Reds have a runner at second. Top of the order now, Drew Stubbs.
I like that.
You like that?
Good.
They try to plant that seed. Outs are hard to come by, Rock.
Yeah.
27 in this game on most nights.
When they're giving them away, you take them.
Strike, a fastball on the inside corner. And it's 0-2 on Drew Stubbs.
That's a good pitch. We haven't seen Looper do that a whole lot with the right-handed batters. When you have a hitter looking for that off-speed stuff, that split-fingered fastball away, it's good to bust him inside once in a while.
.34-year-old Looper against the 24-year-old Stubbs. Just breaking into the big leagues, Drew Stubbs. It's only his 7th game. He's got a runner at second, Miller, who does not run well. Good arms in the outfield for the Brewers. Got a chance at the plate on a base hit. And down he goes. Looper strikes out, another one. Picks up his 3rd strikeout. And now 2 outs in the 5th inning. Still a runner at second base. Paul Janisch coming up, but he was on the mound in a blowout in Cincinnati earlier this year. That was on May 6th. We told you about Janisch's great arm. He was throwing some junk balls though, and ended up giving 5 runs in his lone inning. That was the day the Brewers scored 15 runs on 20 hits, and Janisch kind of the sacrificial lamb in that situation. We went to the mound. We were expecting, you know, the big 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but he was kind of turning into a junk baller.
Trying to two-seam it. You know, those 4 seamers right down the middle, they don't work too well on the mound.
Good point.
They work real well going from short to first. Carlos Corcoran will never forget the name Paul Janisch.
That's right. Carlos Corcoran's lone major league at bat against Paul Janisch, and he had a base hit.
1 for 1.
1 for 1 in the big leagues. Carlos Corcoran. Corcoran was just taken off the big league roster when Chris Narveson returned. Ball and a strike on Janisch. 2-1 count. That was a great night. That was the night Corcoran, after his base hit, was actually allowed to sit in the front left seat on the bus. The front left seat on the bus belongs to one man and one man only.
Bob Uecker. That's
Bob
his
Uecker.
seat.
But Mr. Baseball recognizing the feat that Carlos Corcoran had just accomplished, said, Carlos, tonight you sit with me.
Yeah.
You sit with me.
A bunch of the veteran guys were trying to pull a fast one on Corcoran and told him to sit there. I mean, he had no idea that was Euchre's seat.
Yeah, they just told him, because he had the hit, you get the front seat.
Front seat. Right
Corcoran just thought
driver.
that's what everybody did.
Right, and you came on and handled it beautifully, as he always does.
That's great. It's one of the great moments of the year. Some of the inside Brewers workings.
Of course, I don't think Carlos realizes how special of a privilege that is.
I know it. Full count to Giannis. This is the man Looper wants. He's got Votto on deck. 3-2 and a base hit. Got a chance here. Cameron coming fast. Miller's going to try to score. Here comes the throw from Cameron. It's off the mark. And Miller scores the run. Giannis advances to second. A 2-out, 2-strike RBI single. And it's 2-0 Cincinnati.
Well, you allowed the bottom of the order to get on base. Sooner or later the top of the order is going to cash him in. A leadoff single by Miller, the 8th hitter, after a bunt and a strikeout. Giannis, the number 2 hitter, bangs it into center field, and the throw from Cameron way late and not close to home plate. Missed the cutoff man, allowing Giannis to get to second base.
And the Brewers will not mess around with Joey Votto. Base open at first. Well, both of the runs have scored with 2 outs tonight. Nick's home run in the second. And the RBI hit by Giannis here in the 5th.
Man, go with the percentages. You don't want Votto to beat you at first base open. You got a pretty good run producer coming up, Brandon Phillips. Well, choose your poison. And Ken Maka elects to go righty versus righty here.
Well, our U.S. Cellular text to vote question this week. It was 20 years ago that Pete Rose received a lifetime ban from baseball. And we want to know, do you think Pete Rose should be reinstated into baseball? You can text your answer to 234-234. That's the short code. And then type in W for yes, X for no. All courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Keep that going throughout the week.
Over 4,100 hits for Pete Rose. Boy. Some kind of hitter. Charlie Hustle. It's going to be tough for him to get in the Hall of Fame with Bud Selig as the commissioner.
A lot of talk about Rose being reinstated and asked for eligibility, or given eligibility into the Hall of Fame.
But there's that zero tolerance policy in baseball on gambling, betting. Can't do it.
Gambling almost destroyed the game in its early stages. Well, baseball in the early days kind of thought of about like WWE is thought of right now. I mean, there were all kind of gambling allegations. There was a foul ball, just missed the bag at first. And even the players that played the game were thought of as third-rate citizens and
entertainers. A lot different now because of the strict rules and the lifetime bans for any part of any situation you're involved in with gambling on baseball. You can't do it. Pete Rose did it, and he's paying the price.
Oh, and 2 the count on Phillips. Bouncer, McGee bobbles, cannot make a play. Well, the Brewers a chance to get out of the inning. McGee cannot handle it.
Man, Casey having a tough time over there at third base. You can tell that his knees are bothering him. He's not able to move laterally very well. He got to that one, but just kicked it in and out of the glove, and the inning continues for Cincinnati. It'll be an error on Casey McGee. Should have ended the inning. Relatively routine ground ball. And Brandon Phillips reaches.
And a frustrated McGee, who has always been a better than average defender at third base his entire career. And known maybe more for his glove than his bat until this season. So that loads him up for Scott Rowland. And Looper trying to avoid a big punch by Cincinnati. Good pitch to start him out. A strike on the outside corner.
Man, a tough customer to have to deal with. Rowland's been doing a lot of damage so far in this series on pitches out and away from him. Likes to get his arms extended. Got to keep the ball down. Hopefully he hits it at somebody in the infield.
Former St. Louis teammates Scott Rowland and Braden Looper. And it was another one of their teammates, Jason Marquis, pitching for the Rockies, that drilled Scott Rowland in the head a couple of weeks ago and put him on the disabled list with a concussion. Rowland is just now returning. He was reactivated on Sunday, playing in only his 7th game in Cincinnati. Spent most of the year in Toronto. Good pitch. Looper splits one to the bottom of the strike zone, and it's 1-2.
Boy, that one had about as much break as any pitch he's thrown yet tonight. Good pitch to Rowland, right down the middle of the plate, but you can see the ball just dropping off the table.
The Reds stranded a pair last inning. A run is in, but the bases are loaded. The 1-2. Rowland takes. 2-2. Well, the game could hinge on this next pitch. Playing the top of the 5th, the Reds lead it 2-0. 2-2 on the way, and Rowland hits one into left. That's playable for Braun. Looper got a fastball in on his hands and strands the bases loaded. 2-0 Cincinnati. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Kip Wells back on the mound. He has 4 shutout innings on the books. Brewers have pounded out 5 hits against Wells. He's got a couple of double plays, however. Braden Looper leads off. 9-1-2 due up for Milwaukee against Wells. Brewers had 2 hits in the first, actually had 3 hits in the third inning and could not score. 2 double plays turned by the Reds. Little bouncer, and that's a fair ball. Look at Scott Rowland play third base. Man, oh man. Some kind of play that was.
Yeah, he's something else. Yeah, one of the best, before his injuries. No knee issues and shoulder issues. He was probably the top fielding third baseman in baseball. Showing you that he's feeling pretty good here tonight. That's a heck of a play. Playing in the hole. Not figuring Luke was going to pull the baseball, but made a heck of a play to get the first out of the inning. That's an arm.
Impressive out. Top of the order, Jody Garrett. Reds are playing some defense in this game tonight. They committed 3 errors last night, but on the other side of that, made some huge defensive plays in the game. Garrett sends one deep to right. That is well hit and gone. Jody Garrett sends one out of here. Number 6 for Garrett, his second as a Brewer. And Milwaukee finally on the board here in the 5th inning. It's 2-1 Reds.
Well, there's 2 of the 3 hits Ken Maka predicted. Yeah, good to see Jody get into the swing of things. Well, he really struggled when he first came over here, but the more at-bats he's been able to get, the more comfortable he is at the plate. There's that arm side, or that glove side fastball. Straight as a string out over the plate, and Garrett hits it hard, pulls it right down the line. Only question was whether it was going to be high enough to get out of here, and it was.
Bounced off the old County Stadium bricks out there. So Jody Garrett has now belted 2 home runs in his last 3 games, and making the manager look good for that spot in the batting order. Maka took a hunch. Wanted to get Garrett in there. He's been swinging a hot bat, give him a chance to start and lead off, something he's used to doing. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad, he says. So there you go.
Yeah.
It all ties together.
That's a good job lip reading right there. I was trying to figure out what he was saying.
Yeah, you know, when you eavesdrop as much as I do, it really pays off. Speaking of lip reading, let's send it out to Telly Hughes. Telly?
Thanks, guys. I'm with a special guest, Nathan Danovic, and his dad. And this has been a very special day for Nathan. It's his 18th birthday, and I'll have Nathan tell everyone what he got during the pregame tonight.
Tonight I got a baseball bat signed by Jason Kendall, a pair of Ryan Braun's gloves that were signed, and a Prince Fielder ball that's signed by him, and a Gallardo ball that's signed by him.
Well, Chris Bosio was the one that orchestrated all of this. And Nathan, I got more good news for you. That's not all you're going to leave Miller Park with. I got a birthday card signed by the entire Brewers staff. 18th birthday, and Chris Bosio made sure everyone in the clubhouse, including the clubhouse staff, coaches, manager, all signed that. So that has to be pretty cool, huh?
That's awesome. I can't believe that. Thank you so much.
Well, that's from Chris Bosio and the Brewers. And guys, this is a really special birthday for Nathan. He's been battling leukemia for the last 4 years, and he's doing well. And what an 18th birthday for him. Let's send it back up to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Telly. Good story there. And good luck to Nathan. Keep battling. Good job by Chris Bosio. Making a day right there. Nice work.
Yeah, doesn't have enough room to carry everything that he's been getting tonight. Good story, good news. Good job by Chris Bosio.
Here's Ryan Braun with 2 outs. Brewers within a run after the Jody Garrett home run. Braun has 2 hits against Wells tonight, both singles. Ryan batting .313 with the 2 hits tonight. Braun's been hovering around the top 10 in the league in batting most of the season. Ryan's just outside the top 10 right now. If things stay as they are, he'll push back in when tomorrow arrives. Felipe Lopez, the top Brewers hitter. Lopez batting .319, and that's 5th best in the league.
You're hard pressed to find a list. You know, as far as offensive statistics, you're not going to see either Ryan or Prince. On some of the lists, they're both on it.
Well, they're both in the top 10 in the National League in home runs, RBIs, total bases, slugging percentage, multi-hit games, and extra base hits. I think we got them all covered. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Braun fouls one away. We took the average numbers for the 3 and 4 hitters in the rest of the major leagues, and we put those numbers up to Ryan Braun's and Prince Fielders, and that is the kind of production you're talking about. Look at the home run numbers and the RBI numbers, and this again is based on the average 3 and 4 hitters. And you got to, you know, all the 3-4 hitters in the big leagues.
Yeah,
are something special.
Well, that's why. I mean, we have the opportunity to watch these guys every single day, and it comes as no surprise that, you know, they're the best 1-2 punch in baseball.
Worth watching every night. Soak it up as much as you can the rest of the season. 3-2. Jared Burton, who pitched last night and was on the mound when all the trouble started for the Reds in the 9th inning.
And that's the thing about Kip Wells making his first start since, you know, last July 2008. So you figure his pitch count is getting to a point where he's going to be done. This might be his last inning.
Pitch number 91 coming for Wells. Fielder is on deck. And Braun takes ball 4. Here comes Prince. Tying runners aboard. Fielder representing the go-ahead run here in the 5th inning. And decision time for Dusty Baker.
Dusty would love to be able to get Wells through this 5th inning. At least put him in a position to win the ball game, but here he comes. Whether he's going to make a move or not remains to be seen.
Wells has made just 4 starts all year, and all 4 of those starts in the minor leagues. Had a couple of starts in Syracuse this year when he was a member of the Nationals organization. Did make a start in Cincinnati's farm system in Louisville recently.
All 26 appearances so far in the big leagues have come out of the bullpen.
His last outing was Friday in Pittsburgh. Went 2 innings in that game, just 26 pitches. Now he is going to be left, and Dusty Baker takes a shot in a big spot. Don't forget, Dusty Baker emptied his bullpen yesterday as well. Braun at first, 2 outs in the inning.
Remember, Kip Wells got Prince Fielder on strikes with a changeup.
And it was a good one.
Yes, it was.
Down and away with a lot of sink. Prince launches one. How far will it fly? Oh, Fielder into the upper tank. Number 34. And the Brewers have the lead in the 5th inning. Another mammoth home run from Prince.
Well, they've come in there a couple of times, and he just barely missed that right field line. This time, I think he was waiting for it. Tried to come in again, left it out over the plate, and Prince hits it a ton right down the right field line. Almost as high as that foul pole. This time, able to keep it fair, just barely. Now the Brewers with their big inning once again. They've been living one of those big innings, haven't they?
3-2 Milwaukee. A no doubter for Fielder. A rainmaker. Corky Miller knew it instantly.
Yep. Head down. You can't miss out over the plate with Prince Fielder up there. They've been flirting with disaster all night long with Prince. I mean, each of his first 2 at bats. I mean, he's belted a couple, but not able to keep him fair that time. He was able to do it because that pitch had more of the plate. I think Dusty Baker kicking himself for allowing Kip Wells to face Prince.
Now Fielder with his 34th homer of the year, 112 runs batted in. Jody Garrett and Prince Fielder with home runs in this 5th inning. 3 runs are in. Fielder now tied for 3rd in home runs in the National League. He joins Ryan Howard and Adrian Gonzalez with 34. The league leader is Albert Pujols with 40.
And a good bat by Ryan Braun, laying off a 3-ball pitch, a slider that didn't miss by much, but he drew the walk, allowing Prince to hit the home run. Ryan showing good patience in that at bat.
Coming inside on McGee. The 2-2. Casey bounces one to Roland. And the side retired, but a couple of home runs. A line drive missile from Garrett. And a back-legged moonshot from Prince. The Brewers have the lead 3-2 Milwaukee as we head to the 6th inning. Fifth inning. Crowd still buzzing about that Fielder homer. Jody Garrett and Prince Fielder with long balls has him on top. Lance Nix breaks his bat. Counsell takes care of his former teammate. One gone in the Cincinnati 6th.
Now it's time for tonight's timer of the game winner, and it's the East End Bar in Independence if they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. East End Bar gets 40 tickets to a 2009 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Independence, Wisconsin?
Independence, Wisconsin.
Nice. Sounds like a great place to live. if the haircuts are free in Independence, Wisconsin.
Nowhere but the Brewer clubhouse are they free.
Vladimir Ballantine at the plate for the Reds. Picked up in a trade with the Mariners. Reds sent a young right-handed pitcher to Seattle. Ballantine is a very athletic outfielder. And he'll get a good chance at some playing time here with the Reds. Looper has pushed over the 100 pitch plateau. Stranded the bases loaded last inning. Third time through the order is always the point of interest when Braden Looper is on the mound. And although he ran into some trouble in a 30 pitch inning, he was able to strand the bases full. Got Scott Rowland to fly out to end it. Got him. Looper struck him out. Came back with a fastball, and Ballantine is gone.
Looper is starting to carve off the corners with that fastball. Well, you love to see him work in, and you know that's been a strike all night for Bill Miller, that low strike. But none of the hitters have seemed to like it.
Strikeout number 4 for Braden Looper, and 2 of those punch outs on called strike threes.
Pretty much the only way that an umpire now can be creative with their strike zone up and down. They can't in and out too much because of all the MapQuest or the MapQuest Quest Tech and all those things.
Miller sends Garrett back to the track, and a 1-2-3 inning. So Looper goes right through the Reds' order. 3-2 Milwaukee. Saturday baseball this week at 3 p.m. Central, only on Fox. Johan Santana out for the season. J.J. Putz has elbow issues as well. It's been a rough season for the New York Mets.
I think they currently have 12 players on the disabled list. Cincinnati with 11. Jared Burton taking over here for Kip Wells. Burton pitched a scoreless inning in yesterday's ball game, and is one of the many relievers for Cincinnati that had the big fastball. He throws hard with a good slider. A 3-up, 3-down inning last night.
Well, the big inning for the Brewers in the 9th started with Burton on the mound. As you see the final numbers on Kip Wells in his first big league start of the year. 5 innings and 3 runs, and all 3 of those runs coming in the 5th.
Actually, it was Massett last night in the 8th inning and had the 3-up, 3-down. The Brewers got to Burton. He's the guy that made the error to open up that 9th inning.
Burton, a hard thrower. Hardly any fresh arms in either bullpen. The Brewers do have David Weathers as a fresh arm tonight. Everybody else worked in last night's game. Weathers was throwing at one point last night. A 13-inning game. It's hard to go through a game like that without using most of your bullpen. And each club used 7 pitchers yesterday.
I think everybody in that Brewer bullpen available tonight except for Todd Coffey.
2-0 to Cameron. Out in front, pops him up. Miller flips the mask, and that one is a foul ball by a single row. There's David Weathers, the former Red. Looper is through 6 innings, but has pressed over at 100 pitch plateau. Looper's spot in the batting order is due up 4th in this inning. So Weathers loosening just in case. Three to 2 Brewers. Taking the lead on a Fielder home run. Four of the 5 runs in this game have come with 2 outs. Both of the Reds' runs, Lance Nix's home run was with 2 away, and then the RBI single by Giannis in the 5th. Fielder's 2-run homer with 2 outs last inning.
Yeah, both of these teams can belt homers, and that's normally the way they score their runs.
The Brewers have 145 home runs now as a team, 3rd most in the National League. But you're getting into the non-home run portion of the batting order with Kendall and Escobar due up. She's got the right idea. Not a bad option. And maybe any other year without Albert Pujols. Cameron breaks his bat. Big easy hop for Giannis. And Cameron retired. Our Toyota game summary. 2nd game of this 3-game series. Lance Nix, his 3rd home run in his 2nd game against the Brewers in this series. Put him on top. Giannis with a 2-out RBI single in the 5th inning. It was 2-0 Cincinnati. Jody Garrett whistled one to right, his 2nd home run, and then Fielder hit a moonshot to put the Brewers on top. Hit it as high as the foul pole stand.
I don't think they're going to be coming in on him anymore. They've been
with
trying all night.
His 34th home run, and it put the Brewers on top. Dusty Baker had just gone to the mound to talk to Kip Wells, and he made the decision to leave him in, and Prince made him pay.
Ask him how he felt. Said I feel fine. What do you expect the guy to say, right? What's he going to say? I'm ready to come out.
Here's the ball.
How do you feel? Terrible. Here, I'm out.
Yeah, Fielder coming up. I'm out.
Made a mistake inside, and he's on the hook for the loss.
Ball and a strike on Kendall. And he gets drilled again. Kendall hit for the 2nd time. The active leader in baseball, times hit by pitch, and on twice because of it tonight.
Yeah, walking 2 hit batters. You can see that pad actually saved himself because the ball hit the pad and not the hip bone. Pretty smart, the wily veteran.
13th time this year he's been hit by a pitch. Chase Utley is the National League leader with 18. Kendall is 2nd. And uses that pad well.
Yes, he does.
Can understand Utley. He stands right on top of the plate. Kendall's more of a diver.
So does Willingham. Yeah, Josh Willingham right on top of the plate and diver. Double whammy. Both home run hitters, except for the only guy on that list, Jason. He's only got 1. Jason doesn't mind getting hit though.
2 kinds of hit by pitch leaders, right? The top of the plate guys and the divers, and,
Right.
and then the double whammy.
And mostly home run hitters. You got to crowd them with the fastball.
Escobar with one away. Been anxious to watch Escobar since his home run in Washington. Everybody anxious to see how Escobar handles the home run. Home runs are great, but Escobar is not a home run hitter, and sometimes you get a taste of the long ball, you try to hit another one as fast as you can. Escobar's been taking some mighty hacks at the plate. Kendall takes off, hit and run is on, and Escobar fouls it away.
Had that one stolen, but with 2 strikes. Got to protect the plate.
That was the first thing Ken Maka said after Escobar hit the home run at his post-game press conference. How do you feel about your young shortstop's power tonight, Skipper? I want him to be a Hoover at short. I'm not interested in his home run threat.
That's the last thing the Brewers want to see, is have Escobar hit some home runs early on. Hit the ball on the ground and run, kid. That's what they want him to do, and play good solid defense. Now, at best, he's going to be a doubles hitter, right? Might get lucky from time to time. I mean, right now anyway. I mean, he's probably going to fill out in a couple of years, but you know, he just hits the ball on the ground, gets a couple of infield hits. It's almost like a double because he can steal second base.
Jason Bourgeois will hit next. Kendall takes off again. Escobar strikes out. Miller's throw is late. A stolen base for Jason Kendall. Escobar down on strikes for out number 2. Third stolen base for Kendall. Our Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question. Excuse me while I read. Bill, what was the longest game you ever have been involved in as a catcher? Mike and Fond du Lac.
Longest game in American League history, 26 innings against the Chicago White Sox.
Drew Olson, ladies and gentlemen, enjoying the broadcast. 26 innings.
Yeah, 2 days.
Did you catch all of the?
And Comiskey. No, I caught the last 12. Sundberg started the game.
Well, he couldn't finish.
They took him out for a pinch runner. Anything else you want to know?
How's Drew doing?
Tremendous.
Nice.
Rock, what were you in that game? How many at-bats?
I had 4 at-bats. I was 2 for 4.
Should have played all 26.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Could have been 4 for 8.
You know, Tom Seaver finished that ball game, you know. Tom Seaver finished, got the win. He started the second game and won that one, too.
Wow.
There's a bit of trivia for you.
A little something for the water cooler.
But you know what Tom Seaver never got? Free haircut in the clubhouse.
That's right. Well, you don't know that.
They might have.
It's risky to say things like that. Good to have Drew Olson with us from onmilwaukee.com. Good job in the inside corner today.
Fighting an uphill battle, though, with Davey Nelson.
Has Drew won one this year? Or ever?
We had a tie.
Oh, you had a tie?
We had a tie.
How do you know that?
Yeah, we had a tie. There was one tie.
Oh, you had one earlier this year.
Earlier this year we had a tie.
Okay.
I'm making a late surge, though. I made a good Facebook appeal and Twitter plug, so I think the social media is going to get it. Yep, right. Social media is going to carry me through.
Tough to beat the mayor, you know.
It is tough. He is so popular.
Oh, no question.
I'm at a disadvantage.
A lot of hugs going around. 0-2 to Catalanato. Interesting, Maka had Bourgeois in the on-deck circle. But once Kendall ended up at second base, it's Catalanato who hits.
Right. Better option to maybe drive in and run.
So Looper finishes with 6 innings and 2 earned runs allowed. The 1-2 to Catalanato is on the corner. Down he goes on strikes. The inning is over. The Brewers come up empty. They still lead 3-2 as we head to the 7th inning. And by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tundra Territory at Miller Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series, and a series that wraps up tomorrow. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. 12:30 is airtime. Brewers Live, Fox Sports Wisconsin, and then the Pirates come to town Friday. On a lot of your schedules, tomorrow's game shown as a no TV game, but that game has been added, and we're glad to bring it to you tomorrow. A matinee here at Miller Park. Hope you'll make plans to be with us. 3-2, the Brewers lead the Reds. As we head to the 7th inning, David Weathers, the former Red, on the mound. Former a lot of things, but most recently with the Reds. And he faces a pinch hitter here in Drew Sutton.
Now, his appearance as a Milwaukee Brewer has had 3 consecutive scoreless outings. Last pitched on Monday against the Nationals. Struck out a couple of batters in his only inning of work.
Weathers has gone 2 innings for Ken Maka since being acquired in trade with Cincinnati.
He may be asked to do that here tonight. 2 innings out of Weathers go to Trevor.
Took a little off. And Sutton out in front. Ball and 2 strikes.
And Weathers has a very good changeup. He likes to work away, mostly with the fastball away and the changeup. He'll throw a slider to right-handed batters.
Hit him. Weathers drills Sutton. And the Reds have another leadoff man aboard.
Well, fastball just got away from Weathers. Tried to come inside, but Sutton looked like he threw that leg out there, and it hit him.
I want to remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Tying run at first, top of the order, and Drew Stubbs takes a rip. In Cincinnati, Weathers was 3-3, an ERA of 3.32. 43 games with the Reds.
Got to be careful middle down with this guy. And Stubbs looks like a pretty good low ball hitter.
On the corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Stubbs has good speed. He's a tough man to double up. Weathers' first appearance with the Brewers came on August 11th. A deal that was done after the trade deadline. From the Brewers to Cincinnati. There's a strike. Good pitch right on the corner with a fastball. And down goes Drew Stubbs.
Mistake inside late in the ball game. He's going to miss. He misses in off the plate.
Out RBI single in the 5th inning that put Cincinnati on top 2-0. And then the Crew with 3 runs in the 5th, including a 2-run homer by Fielder that put them on top. In there, 2-1.
Well, Giannis with a pretty good pitch to hit right there. That was a mistake by Weathers. The pitch up in his zone, middle in, and Giannis just watched it go by.
Giannis is 1 for 3. The 2-1 misses. 3 balls and a strike. Dangerous hitter coming up next. And the lefty Stetter loosening for Maka in the bullpen.
Let's see if the Reds put something on here.
Giannis sends one to left, playable for Braun. And out number 2. And decision time for Ken Maka.
Basically, you got Votto and a couple of right-handers. If you take Weathers out in this situation, you're really going to blow through your bullpen again, because you don't want Stetter to be facing Phillips and Scott Rowland. Votto very good against lefties, hitting over 300 with 6 home runs. So not much of an option, is it? They leave Weathers in there, and well, it looks like they're going to go with Mitch Stetter.
So Maka sent Kendall to the mound to buy Stetter a couple of extra warm-up tosses, and Maka's going to make the change. We'll take a timeout. Weathers is out, Stetter is in. Votto coming up.
Stetter's starting to throw the ball much better. There was a stretch where he was having a tough time of it. The Brewers gave him about 8 days off, and his last time out pretty good. He's got to get Votto here. It might be the only hitter that he faces tonight.
Stetter worked a scoreless inning in Washington, D.C. Gave up a hit and a walk, and he drills Votto. So the second batter hit by a pitch in this inning. And the Reds have 2 on with 2 out. Now the tying run is in scoring position.
Well, Ken Maka has another decision to make. He's got a right-hander up in the bullpen, not very happy. And this is what you do. You take Weathers out, you put Stetter in, and all of a sudden you're going to go through 3 pitchers in this inning. when your bullpen has been, worked quite a bit already last night.
Back to the mound goes Maka. Well, Votto is on, and the Reds threatening with 2 outs. We'll set up the new hurler when we continue. Cincinnati has 2 on, and Ken Maka going through his bullpen in the 7th. It started with David Weathers, hit a batter, and then got the next 2 men out. He brought Stetter in to face Votto. Stetter hit Votto, and now it's Claudio Vargas, the 3rd reliever used.
Well, pitched 2 innings on Monday, did not allow a run. His number's pretty good in 11 appearances with the Brewers. No record, and an ERA at 3.00. Overall, 2.35 ERA for Claudio Vargas.
So Vargas to face Brandon Phillips. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. And a dangerous hitter at the plate. The best run producer the Reds had to offer. Sutton has good speed at second base. He'll score on a base hit. The Brewers outfielder is very deep with Phillips up there. The 0-1. Ball and a strike on Brandon Phillips.
Everybody deep except for Ryan Braun in left. Gives you somewhat of an idea how they're going to pitch him. They're giving him a lot of room in left center. So you figure Vargas is going to be working away.
And Vargas taking his time. Phillips backs out of there. Vargas will do that with men on base. You've heard of icing the kicker. Vargas will ice the hitter. And sometimes his defenders. Phillips takes a big lash but fouls it away. And it's 1-2, and Vargas a strike away from getting out of the mess.
Had a good pitch to hit, did Brandon Phillips. Jason Kendall wanted the fastball in the inside corner, and Claudio missed down the middle.
Vargas in his 12th game as a Brewer. He's given up 4 runs in 12 innings. 2 on, 2 out. Here's the 1-2. Phillips just caught a piece. An emergency swing. And the count stays at a ball and 2 strikes.
They barely got a piece of it. Almost picked it right out of Jason Kendall's glove. That ball was by him. Good velocity on that last fastball for Vargas. threw that one pretty well.
Vargas spent the first 3 months on the disabled list with an elbow injury while he was a member of the Dodgers. Finally healthy again. Another 1-2 on the way. Phillips bounces one. Escobar's got it. A strong arm, and he makes the play for the out. And the Brewers are out of the mess. 2 Reds left stranded. 3-2 Milwaukee.
He's got on twice so far. Going to get another chance. Dave and Craig back on board with you. His last time up, a home run. His second as a Brewer in the leadoff spot, doing a nice job.
Well, he certainly is. You know, and it actually is shades of 2003 when he was a rookie in Cleveland. Hit 22 home runs and drove in 79 runs. So, hey, maybe he's having some reminiscing of that nice year he had in 2003.
Well, swinging a better bat as of late. He's going to lead off the 7th inning right now. Brewers are up 3-2. Davey and I will get ready for our post game, our instructional tonight. Pop-up priority in the infield, Brian.
Hi, Craig. Thanks. Confidence is an amazing thing, and Jody Garrett is a confident hitter right now. Had a couple of hits in his last game in D.C. 2 hits here tonight. He faces Arthur Rhodes in to pitch this 7th inning. And Garrett, a hot one over to Votto. Votto will take it himself. And out number 1. Arthur Rhodes could not get it out last night. Surprising. This Reds bullpen, especially their winning bullpen, the bullpen that Baker calls on late in games when they have the lead, is about as good as any bullpen in the National League.
Yeah, their relievers have a 3.64 earned run average coming into tonight's game. And that includes all that damage that was done against them last night.
Rhodes faced 2 batters last night, gave up an infield hit, and then he walked Craig Counsell with the bases loaded. Facing Counsell here with 1 away, and Counsell finds the hole, a base hit. The 8th hit for the Brewers, and a man is on for Ryan Braun. Braun's had a perfect night at the plate. He's been on all 3 times. At the plate presented by Wendy's. 2 singles and a walk. He was on when Fielder went deep with 2 outs in the 5th to put the Brewers on top. Ryan just 2 homers shy of 100 for his career. In just his 3rd season. Braun is currently tied with Frank Robinson for the fastest to 100 in his first 3 seasons. Frank Robinson hit 98 home runs as a member of the Cincinnati Reds back in the mid-50s, 56, 57, and 58. Albert Pujols and Ralph Kiner topped this list. Eddie Matthews in 52, he did it as a Boston Brave, and in the next 2 years as a Milwaukee Brave.
It's all the way back to the 20s and 30s, that list. Chuck Klein, Joe DiMaggio. Boy, some kind of names on that list. Impressive, isn't it?
Braun can break the tie with his next long ball with Robinson. Cuts through that pitch. And a ball and 2 strikes on Braun. Any list you can get on that has Joe DiMaggio is a good list. Fielder would be next. Braun in that comfortable spot in the lineup. As Fielder has had this great year, it's due in large part to the success that Braun has had, and vice versa. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. What's amazing about Braun's numbers, the 98 home runs in his first 3 seasons. Obviously a lot of baseball yet to be played, but he was in the minor leagues the first 6 weeks of the 07 season, his Rookie of the Year campaign.
A lot of at-bats he's missed that the other ones didn't.
2-2 to Braun. He fights one off foul.
Arthur Rhodes, as long as he's been in the game, still getting it up there at 94 miles an hour. Got a good slider to go with it. Having a terrific season.
He'll be 40 in October, Arthur Rhodes. His first year in the big leagues was 1991. Came up in the Orioles system. Last year he pitched in Seattle. Ryan, a little bit in on the hands. That one is in the gap, and that was going to fall. A little miscommunication between Stubbs and Ballantine, and Braun ends up with a double.
Oh yeah. That ball's got to be caught by somebody. A little bit of air under it. I'll tell you, that's how strong Ryan Braun is. He got that one down in the trademark and still muscled it all the way out to the warning track. That looked like a routine fly ball off the bat. Didn't hit it very well, but it carried, and it looked as though Ballantine and Stubbs, either one of them could have caught it, but neither one did. They both looked at each other. Somebody got to catch that baseball. That Brewers the beneficiary of some shoddy defense in the outfield with Prince Fielder coming up, a couple of men in scoring position.
Braun with a double, his 3rd hit of the game. Now hitting .402 against left-handed pitching this year, which is 3rd best in the National League. Fielder, his last time up, it was 2-1 Reds at the time. Fielder quickly made it 3-2 Brewers with his 34th home run of the year. And a Powerball home run count continues with Prince.
I'd be surprised if they allow Prince Fielder to hit here, even though you got the lefty versus lefty. You got first base open. There's a right-hander in the bullpen. Prince Fielder, no problem with left-handed pitching this year. I think that's what they're talking about right here. Dusty Baker is contemplating what to do. There you see Nick Massett, who threw well in last night's ball game. Be very careful with Fielder. Then you've got nothing but right-handers coming up.
So Massett faced Fielder yesterday and got him to pop up. His only time against the big slugger. Well, you can understand the dilemma that Dusty Baker is in. You have your left-hander on the mound, the matchup in your favor, but Fielder, with this kind of magical year, will be walked. You can't blame Dusty for doing this.
I mean, you don't see that much, do you? A lefty on the mound, a lefty at the plate, and you walk him intentionally.
Normally, Rhodes is the guy who comes in to face Prince Fielder.
Right.
But with the base open at first, Dusty will not take a chance.
Well, you set up the double play. You take Rhodes out. You bring Massett in. and you go for the double play to get out of the inning. Prince Fielder with 11 home runs against left-handed pitching this year, and hitting over 280. That's why they're walking him.
So the bases are loaded, and a chance for the Brewers to extend the lead, and Dusty Baker is coming back to the mound to make the change. We'll set up the new pitcher, Nick Massett, when we continue. Brewers have the bases loaded. June, and one of the best moments of his season this year. It has been a great year for McGee, getting a chance to play a lot this year. He earned his spot on the roster out of spring training. He's been hobbled by tendonitis in his right knee, one of 3 Brewers to go deep with the bases loaded this season. And Dusty Baker choosing to intentionally walk Fielder to load the bases, and he'll bring on Nick Massett, a hard thrower out of the Reds bullpen. 49 strikeouts for Massett in 56 innings.
A 3-up and 3-down inning in last night's ball game in the 8th inning. This guy throws hard. 2 very good pitches, the fastball and the slider. 273 earned run average, 49 strikeouts in 56 innings of work. Look at the opponent batting average, 196.
Casey McGee will step in. 3-2, the Brewers lead it. 3 runs on 9 hits for Milwaukee. And McGee trying to stretch it out here in the home 7th. The Reds will concede the run to turn the double play naturally. McGee not running well, so there's not the speed threat at the plate down the line. And they'll take the chance to get out of the inning. McGee can handle the fastball. He tied the game last night with a base hit off Cordero. He also likes the first pitch, and Massett spins one up there for strike 1.
Yeah, he turned around a Cordero fastball at about 96 miles an hour. So it doesn't really matter. Casey can get the bat on it.
5 hits and 7 at-bats with the bases loaded this year for McGee. And a little bouncer. Giannis steps on the bag and makes the play. A double play to end the inning. And Dusty's move pays off. and 6 outs to get. Defensive outs for the Brewers. Claudio Vargas back on the mound. He stranded 2 runners by retiring Brandon Phillips in the 7th. Scott Rowland, Lance Nixon, Vladimir Ballantyne due up for Cincinnati. And the Brewers clinging to a 1-run lead. Vargas doing all he can to get it to Trevor Hoffman for the 9th. The Reds get a double play from Casey McGee to end the inning. And the Crew stranding a pair in the 7th.
Now Dusty Baker, subscribing to that, theory. I mean, you can't allow Prince Fielder to hurt you if you have the opportunity to work around him, and they did. Now, had that fly ball by Ryan Braun been caught, and you had Craig Counsell on first base, they would have pitched to Prince, but they had first base open, really had nothing to lose to put him on first, setting up the double play, and it worked out for him.
Escobar's got it. Long throw across the diamond, and it's not in time. Close play as Escobar gives you a glimpse of what he has to offer.
You see where he ended up after throwing that baseball over there by the third base coaching box. That covers a lot of ground, and has the agility to be able to not only get to it and catch it, but give him a chance to make the throw. Check him out. I mean, off balance and almost able to get Scott rolling, and he'd not been running hard all the way, he would have been out.
That ball was in and out of the glove of Escobar in a hurry.
And a good call at first base.
So Rowland with his 2nd hit and his 6th of the series. And it's Lance Nix who homered in the 2nd inning, putting the Reds on the board for the first time. Nix has 3 long balls in this series.
Only 5 innings tonight. The Reds have had their leadoff hitter on. Brewers dodging a lot of bullets tonight.
So in 21 innings in this series, the Reds 11 times have had their lead runner aboard. As Vargas deals Nix strike 1. Cincinnati has stranded 8 runners in this game through the first 7 innings. Vargas, a sinker ball specialist, looking for one on the ground here. The Brewers in double play depth. Breaks his bat. Escobar has to hurry. Nix runs well, and Escobar guns him down. Man, oh man, Escobar showing a great arm to get Lance Nix for out number 1.
Well, the barrel of that bat ended up in short right field. Talk about getting sawed off. Watch the barrel of the bat. Keeps skipping through the infield, but Escobar able to make a nice running play. He's been showing a lot of range in this inning. In the hole, coming in, and still able to make a good strong throw to get Nix, who runs pretty well. Good agility by Alcides Escobar.
Now the Brewers get the out, but Rowland ends up in scoring position. Tying run at 2nd for Vladimir Ballantyne. Ballantyne tonight is 0 for 2. He walked in the 2nd inning. Looper struck him out in the 6th. Looper in line for the win if the Brewers can take it the rest of the way. Braden went 6 innings, 5 hits, and 2 runs allowed. Make it a bid for win number 12 against 6 losses. Rowland takes off, and Kendall cannot make a throw. Scott Rowland heads up. Got a huge jump. Even if Kendall comes up with it clean, no chance to throw out Rowland at third base.
Yeah, very slow delivery by Claudio Vargas. Really didn't pay much attention to Rowland. Takes a look at him. Rowland had him timed out. He was over there for a couple of pitches and saying to himself, now Vargas is going to look back. He's going to look to the plate and go home, and that's what he did, and he stole it easily.
His first of the year, and it's a big one. It forces the Brewers infield in. Tying run 90 feet away with 1 away. Well, Vargas needs a strikeout here.
Yeah, walk here, not the end of the world, so make a good pitch. You've got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Corky Miller on deck. A very good double play candidate.
Valentine struck out a lot in the American League.
And don't give in.
2-1.
And they didn't.
3 balls and a strike. Valentine didn't chase. Valentine with 43 strikeouts in just 155 at-bats in Seattle. He walked just 13 times. Tying run at third base, 1 out in the Cincinnati 8th. And Valentine walks.
Not a bad idea once you get behind. Even a guy that strikes out a lot is in good position on a 2-1, 3-1 count. Put him on, set up the double play.
Corky Miller is scheduled to hit, but Dusty Baker is going to pull him back. And he's going to go to his bench. Kevin Barker will come on to pinch hit, a left-handed hitter. So Dusty removes his catcher from the game. And Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, says, "Who are you?" Has to show him his number.
Yeah, plenty of options on the bench for Dusty Baker. They started the game with 6 utility players, 6 guys on the bench. They've already used Sutton, now Kevin Barker. They've got 3 right-handers, including their other catcher. And Darnell McDonald, one of the stars of last night's game.
So Kevin Barker will pinch hit. Brewers looking for a double play to end the inning. First and third for the Reds, 1 away, and a 3-2 Milwaukee lead. A bouncer. Vargas makes the play and now throws one away. That one bounces up into the seats. Claudio Vargas throws one into the seats. 1 run will score. The game is tied. Valentine will be sent back to third base.
Well, it's 2 from the field, and what that means is Valentine would have had to have been on second base when Claudio Vargas threw that baseball, which he was not. So he gets second base and he gets third base. Had Valentine been on the bag, he would have been able to score. Yeah, swinging bunt. Pretty good pitch by Vargas. Looked like an off-speed pitch. He looked the runner back, but made a bad throw to first base. Ball bounces into the seats. It's not where Valentine was when the ball went into the seats. It's where he was when he threw the ball, where Vargas throws the baseball. It was pretty close. It looked as though Valentine's actually on second base. And based on that, you would think he should have been able to score.
It was the second bounce that went into the seats. So perhaps the Brewers catch a break. An error by Vargas, however. And the game is tied. Second and third for the Reds. Johnny Gomes off the bench to pinch hit.
Yeah, good pitch. Vargas does the right thing. I think he went a little bit too far. Didn't set himself and threw it away.
Still just 1 out. And nobody warming in the Brewers bullpen. And Gomes not chasing. Gomes with plenty of power. 15 home runs this year in just 188 at bats. Just to give you an idea, Prince Fielder with 34 home runs and well over 400 at bats.
You know, this is were last night's ball game, and using 3 pitchers in the 7th inning, hurts you in this situation. Nobody getting loose in the bullpen for the Brewers. This is Vargas inning, and as we speak, somebody's getting up. It's Mark DeFelice.
He pitched a third of an inning last night. Vargas content to pitch around Gomes, just seeing if the slugger would chase. And again, it sets up a double play opportunity to try to get out of the inning. But the speedy Drew Stubbs is coming up. A run is in on an error. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Vargas in trouble. Chris Bosio makes a call to the bullpen. So the Reds threatening to take the lead. Stubbs has struck out 3 times tonight. Had a hit in his first at bat. Cut it a miss. Good fastball by Vargas.
That's where you want to pitch this guy. A little bit dangerous to pitch up in the strike zone in this situation. A fly ball will score a run, but really hadn't shown the ability to catch up to a high fastball in this series.
Fans a mock cheer on the strike from Vargas. There's strike 2. I mean, he's walked 2, but both of those walks, the unintentional, intentional variety. He's specifically working around hitters.
Yeah, set up a double play.
So while it may seem that he's struggling with his command, not necessarily the case. And now he's got Stubbs at a 1-ball and 2-strike count. Vargas deals. Stubbs takes a ball. 2-2.
Well, this is where you want to get it done right here. 2-2. Don't want to go 3-2. You don't want to be in a position where you have to throw a strike.
Stubbs has just 30 big league at bats. Young prospect center fielder. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he missed low. 3-2 the count. Oh, now the pressure back on Vargas. Paul Janisch would be next. Nowhere to put him. Struck him out. Stubbs chased one. A good fastball from Vargas.
He just can't catch up to that pitch up in the strike zone. Pretty close pitch. It looked like it might have been ball 4, but too close to take. Actually looked like a strike, but he has been swinging through that pitch. First 2 games of the series. He get that ball down a little bit. He might give it a pretty good ride, but can't handle that high fastball.
4 strikeouts for Drew Stubbs here tonight, and a big strikeout for Vargas. Now 2 away with Paul Janisch at the plate. Tie game, all even at 3, and Vargas gets ahead of Janisch. Janisch had a 2-out RBI single in the 5th. That gave the Reds their 2nd run. The Reds have already stranded the bases loaded once in this game. Vargas trying to do it again. Oh, 2. Perfectly spotted fastball.
I wonder what they're looking for up there. I mean, 2 fastballs. First one was right down the middle. Janisch takes them both.
See what Vargas has in mind here. 0-2. Bases are loaded. Crowd comes to its feet. And you got him. Struck him out. Janisch takes 3 in a row. And Claudio Vargas strikes out 2 to end the inning. A run scores, but that's it. And the Brewers get out of a mess.
Have 2-1. Then after Ryan Braun walked, Prince Fielder goes deep. His 2-run shot, his 34th of the year, made it a 3-2 game. But in the top of the 8th, Claudio Vargas overshoots Prince at first base. That allows the tying run to come on in. And it's now a 3-3 game as we head to the bottom of the 8th. And guys, it looks like they're going to need some more late inning antics to come out on top tonight.
All right, Telly, thanks a lot. Craig. Mike Cameron leads it off. New catcher is Craig Tatum. The new pitcher is Carlos Fisher, who was impressive last night in extra innings.
Guys got good stuff. Good live fastball, a slider. Not too many pitchers out of that Reds bullpen don't come in with a pretty big arm. Guys got tremendous movement. As you see Craig Tatum taking over for Corky Miller behind home plate.
All tied at 3. The Reds get a run on an error by Vargas. And another pitch up in the strike zone. 3 balls, no strikes on Mike Cameron. Cameron, Kendall, and Escobar to start it in the pitcher spot.
And neither manager so far in this first 2 games of this series afraid to go to their bullpen. Long list of pitchers in both games.
Cameron pops it up. Back is Tatum. And right up against the screen. That one ends up in the seats. And 14 pitchers used last night. 7 by each club. Fisher, the 4th Cincinnati pitcher.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Vargas, the 4th Brewers pitcher.
Man,
everybody's getting their work.
Like Claudio Vargas picking up, an inning and a 3rd. And how about the at bat by Paul Janisch? Bases loaded, 2 outs, and watches 3 fastballs go right by him.
Full count to Cameron. Down he goes. Fisher strikes him out. So Fisher comes all the way back. Cameron was ahead 3 balls and no strikes, and Fisher punches him out.
And fastball right on the outside corner. Might have been a little off the corner, but too close for Cameron to take.
Fisher retired 6 in a row yesterday for that 13-inning loss for the Brewers. Jason Kendall has been aboard all 3 times tonight. A walk, twice hit by a pitch. Two and one. Final game of the series tomorrow. Dave Bush is on the mound, and when you're talking about the bullpens, Dave Bush is a guy that Ken Maka and Chris Bosio not expecting to go deep into a ball game by any stretch. He'll be on a pretty strict pitch count tomorrow. Kendall skies one to shallow right, and it's out number 2. Been running our U.S. Cellular text question this week, and we want to know what you think about Pete Rose. Should he be reinstated into baseball? Text W for yes, X for no, and this is where it stands at this point. 73% saying yes to Pete Rose being reinstated. I wonder if Bud Selig is among those 73%.
No.
Probably not.
No, he's in that 25% category.
And his is the only one that counts.
Right.
Say hi to the commissioner if he's watching tonight. Escobar takes a strike. Escobar is 0 for 3. Batting with 2 outs. Brandon Phillips, the Gold Glover, takes care of Escobar. So Fisher, a 3-up, 3-down inning. And we're on our way to the 9th, still tied.
Allowed to coach, but he can still be, he should be in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt.
He lied for 15 years. I think he can wait 15 years since he came clean about it. Keep it going, keep the penalty going. The other thing to remember is it's the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. He can be in the museum. There's some of his stuff in the museum. They can put up exhibits to honor his hits, but he doesn't have to be inside the Hall of Fame itself.
Well, you know what? Murderers get off. You know, they serve their time. You know what? Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
All right, Drew. Good battle, you and Davey, earlier today. I actually side with Drew on this one, and Davey's in the lead, 52%.
I was pushing for the late vote from Bayside and the commissioner. You can still vote. Commissioner, if you're watching, text Drew.
Oh, okay, I see. So this is ongoing here. We'll wrap it up post game. It's a bit of an unfair advantage for Drew to have the airtime without Davey.
Yeah.
But go ahead, take advantage of it, man.
Yes, I'm behind. What are you talking about? I need all the time I can get.
Drew's like the Teddy Roosevelt of the president's race.
I never win. I'm just glad to be in the game against Davey, though.
It's good to have you up here.
Yeah.
I thought we locked that door. Here's Trevor Hoffman on the pitch in the 9th. And he will face Joey Votto, who dealt the decisive blow last night, the home run in the 13th. And Votto sends one into left center, playable for Braun. One pitch, one out for the all-time saves leader. Well, the Brewers are going to need a run quickly. Otherwise, the pitching situation is getting into a dire situation for Ken Maka after Hoffman.
Well, bringing Stetter on in the 7th inning, I mean, kind of forced his hand to be using a few relievers. He wasn't, I guess, after the Todd Coffey situation last night, having him throw 3 innings, didn't want to extend David Weathers too much. He brought Stetter in for Votto for 1 hitter, and then Claudio Vargas. Now he's got his closer in a tie game. That's a standard move with a team with a tie game at home. But if you're looking at beyond the 9th inning, the Brewers, it's going to be a challenge. You figure Todd Coffey not available. You got Carlos Villanueva, DeFelice, Mike Burns, and Chris Narveson.
Probably next on the list. Hoffman's spot in the batting order is due to lead off. And Hoffman only goes an inning no matter what, so not necessary for Maka to make a double switch, and even if he wanted to, he doesn't have many options on the bench either. He did have Felipe Lopez in the on-deck circle last inning, so I suppose Lopez will lead off in the bottom of the 9th. But he's been bothered by an injured foot. He's not running well.
And if he gets on and then you have a pinch hitter, you put Bourgeois in, then you're really in trouble as far as a hitter coming off the bench. It would be Mike Rivera would be the last bench player for Ken Maka.
So that's the landscape of what's going on here. 3-3 ball game, all tied up. You say you want to be a big league manager, huh? A lot to think about. And no benefit of hindsight.
And it all happens very quickly down in that dugout. Seems like a nice leisurely paced game from the stands and from the broadcast booths, but down in that dugout things happen quickly.
Ball and 2 strikes on Brandon Phillips. In the air, shallow right, Counsell back in the grass, and he'll make the catch. Out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Trevor Hoffman. Pitching in consecutive games. Hoffman worked a scoreless 9th inning last night. Actually, a 10th inning last night.
Used every bit of the ballpark last night, though. Votto and Phillips. Took Mike Cameron back to the wall in that 10th inning. Amazing how much mileage Trevor gets out of that 86, 87 mile-an-hour fastball when you have hitters looking for that changeup. He's jammed the first 2 hitters in this inning.
Rollins put pretty good numbers on the board, huh? Against Trevor. 5 for 11. 3 of those 5 hits home runs. Roland has 2 hits here tonight, 6 in the series. And Trevor's behind him 2-0. Hoffman worked in back-to-back games Friday and Saturday, had a 9-pitch save in D.C. on Saturday night, his 27th save of the year. Threw just 10 pitches last night. Rolling into center. Cameron makes the catch. Trevor Hoffman with a 9-pitch scoreless ninth. To the bottom of the 9th. Can the Brewers win it in walk-off style? Stay with us. Bottom of the ninth, all tied at 3. And Felipe Lopez will pinch hit. Unable to start tonight. An injured foot. Did that last night. And as Lopez is announced, Dusty Baker takes his trip to the mound. So he wanted to make sure Lopez announced as a pinch hitter. And Dusty's going to take the ball from Carlos Fisher. So we have a pitching change before we get started. Hang in there. The bottom of the ninth is coming fast. Announced as the pinch hitter. Baker would rather see him hit right-handed, so he brings on the left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera, who was terrific last night and the eventual winner last night in that 13-inning game.
And you got a couple of left-handers coming up after Lopez. Well, after Lopez, you got 3 of the next 4 hitters are left-handed. So Daniel Herrera on for the second consecutive day, the winning pitcher in last night's ball game. 57th appearance for the lefty, a 2.63 ERA.
Lopez bothered by an injured foot, not running well. See how much he can give. Lopez last night off Bronson Arroyo belted his second home run as a Brewer. Had 4 hits last night, 8 home runs for the year. He's had 1 homer as a right-handed batter as a Brewer and 1 as a lefty. Both of them have been right here at Miller Park. There are the splits for Herrera against lefties and righties. Much better against left-handed hitters. And he's got 2 of them to face next. Lopez injuring his foot rounding third last night. He stepped on the plate and you could tell he was shaken up, unable to start here tonight. It's his right foot, and as a right-handed hitter, Rockets his push foot.
Now, and that's where your base comes from, so you figure that Lopez may in fact be out on his front foot up there at the plate and maybe giving up some power.
Takes a strike. Ooh, top of the strike zone, and Lopez.
That hadn't been a strike all night. Bill Miller has been a low ball umpire. That pitch hasn't been called all night long. That ball looks high. Pretty close though.
Full count to Lopez. A cue shot, tried to wait back on the sweeper. 67-mile-an-hour breaking ball from Herrera. There are the splits for Felipe Lopez. pretty balanced. All tied at 3, and Lopez bounces one. That's a fair ball. Rowland will make the play for out number 1. Lopez thought he'd walked. Instead, Herrera gets it out.
Just can't stay back. Barely fair. Jim Joyce, third base umpire, calling it fair. Bounced right in front of the bag. You see Lopez not running all that well. And an easy out at first base.
Well, back to the top of the order. Jody Garrett. Ken Maka predicted 3 hits from Garrett tonight. A hit here would put the winning run aboard. Garrett homered in the 5th to put the Brewers on the board for the first time. His 6th home run of the year and his 2nd as a Brewer. Cue shot. Herrera's got it. 2 outs. He's something else. Danny Herrera. Less is more.
Well, his fastball barely hits 87 miles an hour. 86, 87. But he doesn't like to throw too many pitches at that velocity. That's normal hitting speed. Got that screwball, that sweeping slider that he likes to throw to right-handers and lefties.
And here's Counsell with 2 outs and a bouncer in the hole. Giannis, strong throw, and the inning is over. Herrera 1, 2, 3 through the Brewers order. We head to extra innings again. Thirteenth extra inning game. That's a lot. 6-6 is their record. Brewers are 3-3 in extra inning games. Mike Burns out of the bullpen. He pitched an inning last night, a scoreless inning with a strikeout. And Burns will have the 10th. He'll have Lance Nix to lead off, then Ballantine, and then a pinch hitter.
Hey, what a difference in the numbers for Mike Burns as a starter. 3 and 4 with an ERA around 7. That was in 8 starts out of the bullpen, a 1.29 ERA. Gave up only 1 run out of the bullpen and 7 innings of work.
Burns' Brewers debut was out of the bullpen. He went 4 scoreless innings against the Marlins back in June. Nix up there hacking, and he pops it up. Escobar wants it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Mike Burns. In the Brewer 10th inning, Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, and Casey McGee. Middle of the order coming up. Burns trying to get him there at a tie.
Sounds like a run. Sound like a run to you?
That's it. Definitely sounds like a run.
Every time you have Prince up there, sounds like a run.
He's in scoring position even now as we speak.
In his car on the way to the ballpark,
Yep.
he's in scoring position.
He can score from there. Vladimir Ballantine batting with one away. And they'll ask if he went. Yes, he did, says Darryl Cousins. Ball and 2 strikes. That's what Vargas was trying to get Ballantine to do in the 8th inning. But he wouldn't chase, and he ended up walking. Into right, long run for Garrett. And he lays out, he can't get it. That one bounces up into the seats. And a ground rule double for Vladimir Ballantine. Good effort by Jody Garrett. Came up just short.
And not much you can do. And the Brewers very fortunate that ball bounced in the seats. If it didn't, Ballantine runs pretty well. That would have been minimum a triple. Jody Garrett goes down. Had that ball bounced off the wall and got down in the corner. Although Jody gets up pretty quickly. Would have been a triple. As it stands, goes in the seats. It's a double. That's a break.
So Ballantine with 2 strikes just lays the bat on one and ends up with a double. Go ahead run at second base. Here's Craig Tatum, his first at bat. A big cut. Burns keeps one under his hands. Tatum is just 4 for 38 at the plate this year. Backup catcher Ryan Hannigan on the disabled list with a concussion, so Tatum gets a chance to play a little bit tonight. Corky Miller started. He was lifted for a pinch hitter in the 8th inning. Brewers had a 3-2 lead starting the 8th. The Reds tied it, but stranded the bases loaded. Milwaukee fortunate to get out of that inning, still tied.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and Vargas able to get out of it.
All 3 of the Brewers runs came in the 5th. Garrett homered, and then Fielder hit a 2-run homer with Braun aboard to put him on top. Hoffman worked a scoreless 9th. You use Trevor Hoffman in back-to-back games, and it's not a safe situation. And we'll see if he's available tomorrow for Ken Maka, who shows you the stress of a manager with a beleaguered bullpen.
Yeah, Maka trying to get Trevor a win. Hit the scoreless 9th. Hopefully get a run.
Oh, nice play by Burns. Escobar fires to McGee. They get the out there, but taking the extra base is Tatum. Heck of a play by Mike Burns to get the out, but he made the toss to second just a little too soon.
Yeah, he did. He did the right thing. He ran right at him. That's what you want to do. You don't want to commit too early. You want to run that, get that runner moving. You almost want to get him running back. I mean, he comes at an angle a little bit too soon, gets rid of it a little bit quickly. And a good play by Casey McGee. Check out this. He catching the tag all at once. But Ballantine does the job. He stays in the rundown long enough to allow Tatum to get into scoring position.
1 to 6 to 5 on the putout. Second out of the inning. Reds still have the go-ahead run in scoring position, and Darnell McDonald at the plate. McDonald was the man who made the throw yesterday that sent the game into extra innings when he gunned down Ryan Braun in the 9th. Well, they usually tell you as a position player, when you're involved in a rundown from the defensive side, don't pump fake. Usually you pump fake your own teammates.
Right. The only other thing that could have happened there would have been for Escobar to close the gap between the base runner and the bag, and that would have made it a little bit easier to make the tag and would have kept Tatum at first base.
Into left. Braun comes in, and it's over his head. That goes to the wall. And a run will score. McDonald will stop at second with a double and a big misplay in left field by Ryan Braun.
What happened there? Well, that about a very routine fly ball to left, and Ryan came in. And no chance to make a correction and make the catch. My goodness. Look at Ryan. He comes charging in like it's going to be routine. He realizes it too late and not able to get there. And that's a huge mistake by Ryan Braun, giving the Reds a lead. Well, it should have been an easy catch out in the left field.
Instead, it goes as a double. Tatum scores, and the Reds are on top 4-3 in the 10th inning. Braun is due to lead off in the bottom of the 10th. Uncharacteristic of Ryan Braun, who has become a very good left fielder. Costly one here. Burns should be out of the inning. Cordero, the closer, loosening. Blew a save last night, only the second time all year he's blown a save. Well, we got a couple of big league matchups coming up in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah.
Cordero against Braun, Cordero against Fielder. And McGee due third up in the inning. Had the hit that tied it off Cordero last night. Escobar throws one away. And now they've got the runner in a pickle between third and home. It's Burns who cuts it off. Now Fielder steps in front. Escobar fetches it. Wow. Boy, the Brewers almost explode again defensively. They get the out, but a run scores. And now the Brewers got to do some damage. Braun, Fielder, and McGee coming up against Cordero. Blowing his second save of the year last night. And he'll be going right through the middle of the Brewers order. Braun leads off, then Fielder, then McGee.
And the guys that hit him pretty hard last night. You know, three guys that are coming up in this inning all hit line drives off of Cordero in last night's ninth inning. See if they can do it again.
Ryan had a 2 RBI single in the ninth off Cordero. Brewers down a run. Braun fouls one away. A couple of hits tonight. or excuse me, against Cordero. Braun with 2 tonight, 3 tonight, and a walk. 3 for 3 and a run scored. Doubled his last time up. There's a strike. 0-2.
And 95-96 on the fastball by Cordero. Still throwing hard. Threw a lot of pitches in last night's game. Doesn't seem to be affecting him so far tonight.
All-star closer this year, Cordero. Cordero still has the Brewers franchise record for saves in a year, 44. That was back at 07. Signed a 4-year deal with the Reds in year 2 of that deal. 0-2 to Braun. Got him.
Yeah, 3 fastballs. I should say 4 fastballs, and Ryan Braun a strikeout victim. Like you said, Cordero throws hard. Yeah, trying to get work Ryan Braun up in the strike zone. That was the best pitch to hit right there. 93 down the middle. Another pretty good one. And then Cordero goes up the ladder and gets Ryan on a swing and a miss.
Fielder up. And Fielder rips one back up the middle. My goodness. An absolute rocket from Prince. And the Brewers will bring the winning run to the plate. Prince with his second hit of the ball game.
Prince is turning on that fastball right down the middle of the plate. And they pull it back through the middle.
Well, here we go with Casey McGee. McGee was up with the bases loaded in the 7th. He rolled into a double play. A long ball wins it. And McGee takes a cut and a slider from Cordero.
5 straight fastballs, and Cordero finally goes to the breaking pitch, knowing that McGee is going to be all over the fastball. Another one.
Quickly 0-2. Cordero, a steady diet of fastballs last night for McGee. He ended up singling with 2 outs that tied it on a fastball. 97-mile-an-hour fastball, as a matter of fact.
And all sliders to Casey. I think the difference last night, bases were loaded, and I don't think Cordero wanted to make a mistake and bounce a slider in the dirt.
Another one. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. As high as 95, as low as 86. All power from Cordero. 2-2. Fielder at first. And Casey loses the bat as he strikes out. Another slider from Cordero, second out of the inning. And the Brewers down to their last out.
And Casey didn't see a fastball that entire at bat. Got behind 0-2, a couple of sliders. That one right on the outside corner. And then Casey takes a couple of them, a little bit off the plate. And then Cordero throws one pretty good spot, outer half, and Casey way out in front.
Cameron steps in. Winning run at the plate, tying run at first. Cameron takes a ball. It's 1-1. Only 1 hit against Cordero, but it was a home run. Cordero's only given up 2 long balls this year. As Cameron takes a slider, 2 balls and a strike. Off the end of the bat, little cue shot, tough play. Cordero makes the throw in time, and the ball game is over. And the Brewers lose again in extra innings to the Reds. A very disappointing finish to this one. A defensive breakdown for the Crew in the top of the 10th, and the Reds win it 4-3. Let's check in with Craig Deshawn. It is time for Brewers Live. Craig?